What's going on, everybody? Jonah here with you. It's a Monday, October 20th, 2025. How's everybody doing out there today? I got Alec Nava here with me. Cooper Hopkins may join depending on the way that this game goes, but it is a game 7 between the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, Alec admittedly yesterday covered the game 6. This is my first look at the Blue Jays all year. And as I look at some of the stuff in the lineup, some of the numbers don't make sense. Some of the lineup construction with the injuries to Bo Bichette, guys like Anthony Santander, who's also had tough years. But yet, here are the Blue Jays in a spot, unbelievably, Alec, where you thought maybe the Yankees, the Red Sox, and then AL East. No, it's the Blue Jays, and they have a chance to win one more game to go to the World Series.
Our joint tonight, John. What a night that we are going to have here. Game 7, winner take all between the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. And what's been back and forth? We saw some blowouts, but the last 2 games have been relatively closer. They've both been identical 6-2 scores. We saw another Mariner moment, that being from Eugenio Suarez. But Game 6 was unlike the Mariners, and Toronto took full advantage with what they typically do, putting the ball in play. That's their hallmark. While Seattle is more to do with the pitching and their ability to hit home runs. Yeah. Don't need those home runs tonight here in Game 7.
So I look from the previous series between the Tigers for Seattle and now Toronto. They've moved up Julio Rodriguez to the leadoff spot, but since he's moved up there in Game 5, Alec, I don't believe he has a hit.
0 for 7 ever since he was moved to leadoff. And subsequently, ever since Randy Arozarena was taken off the leadoff, he did have a solid Game 6, given that he has been slumping this October. And if Game 6 was a confidence booster for Mr. Playoffs, then perhaps Game 7, it could be more from him for Arozarena.
And then also I see the one little adjustment. Jorge Polanco is the DH. Leo Rivas, since being the hero in Game 5 for Seattle against Detroit, will be in the 8th spot. It'll be J.P. Crawford, Leo Rivas, and Victor Robles. And on the back end, I just want to get some more information from you, if you don't mind. Look at George Springer, 36 years old, coming over from the Houston Astros. I cannot believe he's hitting 309 with 32 tanks and 84 RBI. He and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. honestly have been revelations.
Springer, he took the ball towards his right kneecap in Game 5, but he remained in the lineup, topping it out, and he's still in the lineup. He's still doing that sore knee, and at times he looked uncomfortable in Game 6, but he's good to go. But Vlad Guerrero Jr. is clearly the front runner for the World Series MVP should Toronto win tonight. If Toronto were to advance, there's a candidate for World Series MVP. But Ernie Clement batting .447 this postseason. You mentioned that some of these numbers don't make sense. That's video game numbers from Vladdy Jr. and Clement.
I mean, you're talking about Addison Barger coming in this year. We talked about IKF from the move over from Pittsburgh back to Toronto. Got another tour duty for him. Andres Jimenez, former Cleveland Indian Guardian, now Toronto Blue Jay over the last couple of years, doesn't hit all that much, but their defense is pretty good. And like I said in the open, when you think about Bo Bichette not being in this lineup and Anthony Santander, who was, ridiculous with the Orioles, has not fit in all with the Blue Jays, they still have a lot of firepower that they still could have used. But yet this team, again, is one game away from a World Series.
When you think of a .333 batting average and you put Santander in the same sense, that's what to be expected from him at this current moment in time. But since he was removed from the roster, his year is over because he's not eligible for the World Series if Toronto were to advance. But ever since then, Toronto's flexed their might over the bats 1 through 9. No matter where they go, 6 through 8 delivered in Game 6. Barger hit a home run. IKF had some good looks. Clement still continuing to roll as the biggest surprise in Toronto. But how about Nathan Lucas, one of the outfielders from them this year? In the platoon partner to David Schneider, Lucas has been a revelation out of the 2 spot at left field.
Yeah, Lucas, as you mentioned, he's 31 years of age. It's really, honestly, his first full look in the major leagues with a full season. A 31-year-old. Again, he had played 135 games, 12 bombs, 65 RBI. He's been pretty good. We talked about World Series appearances or lack thereof. The first since '93 would be for the Blue Jays, and Seattle would be getting their first of what's at stake. And in the starters today, We have George Kirby, who I'm very familiar with, and he can be pretty clutch for Seattle. But Shane Bieber, the former Indian/Guardian, he's going to get a chance to start tonight. I know he's coming off with some of the injuries and this and that, but we know him to be a big game pitcher in the past.
Kirby's need to rebound from a tough road outings this year, because for as amazing as he is at home, it's not been the same story on the road. And up against Shane Bieber, this is why Toronto traded for him and took a gamble after he was coming back from injury. For the postseason moments, this is going to be his biggest start of his career. And a Game 7, a chance to go to the World Series. That's why you get him in there. He's had some solid looks this year, and that includes Game 3 of this ALCS when he shut the lights out of Seattle despite allowing 2 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, we know him to be very, very good, especially in the AL Central. We've seen him a lot. Again, as we talked about Seattle's lineup, Julio Rodriguez, Raleigh, Josh Naylor, Jorge Polanco, Randy Arozarena, Gino Suarez, JP Crawford, Leo Rivas, and Victor Robles. 7, 8, 9 get set to go here at Rogers Center. I know there was some trolling on social media, but all I have to say for Toronto fans, if you think about the jersey that Vlad rocked today with Austin Matthews, just concentrate on the game.
Just shut out the outside noise. Just no need to focus on all of that.
So here we're going to get a chance to go as it's Julio Rodriguez against Shane Bieber. Again, I'll lead off the first, and then we'll switch off alongside Alec. And then Alec's going to have NBA basketball debuted for you tomorrow for the regular season. Looking forward to that. This is a shot down the left field line. This should be an easy double for Julio, and he's going to walk into second.
Yeah, he smoked that right past the third base side Clement and onto the corner. He took a pitch that he liked, and that's his first hit batting at the leadoff. Seattle needs him to get his confidence up after moving Arozarena out of the leadoff spot. They put him at the leadoff, and there you go. Smacked one first past third base, and that was fair.
Yes, it was. And again, you talk about moving him up in the lineup. You have a chance to have speed, power, everything else. The combinations, right? Dan Wilson just wants to see the results, and that's a big one right there, and live up to the big dumper. So first pitch to him is a fastball just outside the zone at 92. Now, Shane Bieber can probably live around 93 at this point in his career, but that's getting toward the top end of what he can throw. He does feature 5 pitches. Predominantly, we'll try to get some chases on knuckle curves and changeups as we wait on the 1-0. And a big yacker on a slider, it's 1-1 as Cal was way early.
Julio Rodriguez and Raleigh, as we speak of them, they're second and third since the All-Star break in total bases. The only one ahead of it, you may already know who he is, and that's the man who had the lights-out performance against the Brewers in Game 4.
This is a throw over to Julio Rodriguez. He does just get back in there off a late camera cut.
Ooh, yeah, he had to jump back onto second base. Shane Bieber and the Blue Jays know he is a threat to steal whenever he reaches.
I kind of like that, though, but you also think in the back of your mind, Alec, for Josh Naylor, that they're going to pay some extra attention to him. This is a cue shot, foul, just barely on the first base line. Otherwise, that would have been a tough play. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Yeah, I don't blame Bieber for trying to pick off Rodriguez over at second base, given his speed, because he has all the attributes you want out of a base runner.
Yeah, and you're looking at a situation realistically, Alec, where if Raleigh just gets a deep fly ball, get to third, you can get a sac fly with 2 outs, and Seattle get the first one of the ball game. So that's big. You want to try to cut that down if you can, as we got another look at Rodriguez's hit. So the slider in Game 3 was about a 30% usage. You got 7 outs, all season best. Again, Shane hasn't pitched a whole lot this year, about 40 innings, as the knuckle curve misses just outside the low. It's 2-2.
We talked about Trey Savage's splitter as the Yankees spits and the Mariners spits yesterday. Shane Bieber's slider almost as dangerous as Savage's splitter.
You talk about Savage, man. What a young kid and a stud. You think about losing Alec Manoah and what he was over the last few years. Looks like Savage can fit right in.
Yeah, he can.
2-2 is the count still against Raleigh as we're taking a long look from Bieber. Chance way down low and a slider, nothing doing. It's a full count.
And honestly, a full count is better than a pitch going away, because if it goes away, then Rodriguez can easily go to the bases. Good block from Alejandro Kirk.
That's what you got to have. Again, you got two premium defensive catchers in behind the plate. Previous series, you had Dylan Dingler, but now you got Cal Raleigh and Kirk. Full count. This is way out foul in front past the netting. We'll do it again.
But he had to stay alive there. And admittedly, I am behind as I'm now getting the foul ball, but he had to get that one off. But nonetheless, he took a chance.
Again, we probably have a little bit of delay. Sometimes I'm ahead and behind and missing out alongside with Cooper, but just happen to have Alec here with me. And we'll adjust that in a second. You see Randy Arozarena on the top part of the step, and the Jays are trying to get out of this with nothing doing, but it's still no outs. You got Rodriguez with the double at second, full count. Inside pitch is a swing and a miss on a fastball, tied him up in knots. One down.
And Toronto needed this from Bieber. They wanted him to deliver it in the moments. And Cal Raleigh, yes, it was top left corner inside the zone, so you had to go after that. Not a bad swing. It's just the timing of the swing that you have to make if you're Cal Raleigh in here.
Yeah, he had a chance where it was up in the kitchen, as you said, Alec, just a little bit late. That's all he could do. It was really a perfect dotted pitch from Bieber. And now it's Josh Naylor. Again, his moniker is he wants all the smoke over the last couple of years from the Guardians. He's hitting a cool 429, 3 tanks, 4 RBI, and an OPS over 1,300. And he's also the best base stealer on the Seattle Mariners. He just has great instincts as he waits on the 1-0. This is pitch number 11 for Bieber, but he'll use his disengagement and look Rodriguez back to second.
429 batting average in this ALCS is Naylor. And you think of Guerrero's batting numbers, Naylor's batting numbers in this series alone, we can discuss this as video game numbers.
This one shot way foul off the cutter. You're absolutely right, Alec. When you think about both of these first basemen, you could pretty much pick your poison to throw a dartboard on what you like. Yes, you've had the unbelievable power from Guerrero from those off-speed pitches, but you also have the base stealing and headiness from Naylor. It's a lot to like.
Nothing could expect, and nobody could expect that base stealing ability from Naylor.
No, because again, it was one of those runs in Game 5 when Seattle got on the board first against Tarek Skubal. He created it all himself. He got a double, stole third, and they made it happen. And they're getting some good camera shots of his cleats. And some Seattle fan has the same color on his hat. It's a lot of bedazzling there as you're waiting on the 1-1 from Bieber. This will be pitch number 12. Rodriguez still left at second and a changeup way outside. Make it 2-1.
And because Bieber's used to both of disengagements, if he were to try and pick up J-Rod the next time around, he has to do so right here, right now.
Yep, and you're going to be risking a base runner as well. So that'll be something to think about as it's up high on a changeup, make it 3-1. Now, admittedly, Alec, if I'm Julio, I probably don't want to take too many steps and get myself caught off guard because I do have good protection behind me when you got Naylor, Polanco, and Arozarena.
You do. The Polanco got cleaned up in this order as Dan Wilson made the switch, moving Naylor up to the first spot, Polanco to the fourth spot. Not a bad idea.
This is shot through the hole at first base, and that's going to score J-Rod. Josh Naylor comes through, and Seattle's got the first run of the ball game.
Guerrero Jr. tried to dive for the ball in which he would try to catch it. Sometimes even he's come up with stellar defensive plays in which he stopped the ball from reaching towards the outfield. But not this time around. That was a cannon of a shot from Naylor for an RBI single past Guerrero, who is getting the support of Big Papi David Ortiz, by the way. Addison Barger's throw had no chance of reaching home plate. It was offline. You bring Barger in for the offense, but you lose a bit of defense when you bring Barger to the outfield.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. As it's 0-1, and as you mentioned with Vlad, he was about a quarter step away of making a miraculous play as the changeup now makes it 1-1.
Yeah, a little bit of a jump closer. Perhaps there could be a play that's up there for first base. No double play unless if J-Rod doesn't go to Bird.
Looking at the previous stats for Polanco, as this just misses on a changeup high and outside. He's 1 for 13 in the last set of 3 games, but Polanco's much better than that. He's batting cleanup today. And I think Seattle, yes, they got the one run, Alec, but I really do believe they need to get at least one more here to start the ball game.
You want to send a message to Toronto? At least one more run can do wonders. At least a double can help things out. See if Naylor can test out home plate if it is a double.
Naylor was swinging his hands free and clear like he was a commander of a ship there. He looked like he wanted to steal as a cutter is called for a strike, but it's 2-2.
The changeup as Bieber switched things up from the fastball slider to the changeup combo. He's a wide pitch arsenal, and any of these pitches can be good pitches as long as he finds it.
He's got 5 in his back pocket that he can use on this 2-2 against Polanco. Long look. Again, we don't have the pitch timer with us. Is this knuckle curve? Again, a slider spiked in the dirt. Alejandro Kirk makes the block. I think he's just going to tell Bieber here, kind of take a deep breath because it's a full count. You don't want to give up any free passes.
You cannot, because that one hit the dirt. If that gets a little more space, then the Naylor advances to second base.
Yeah, especially with his instincts, as we've talked about. Again, he's been jittery back there at first. Now they throw over that one close, but Naylor does get his hand in, and we'll use the first disengagement from Shane.
He tried to do so because Naylor has good base running instincts. A big surprise for Naylor has the second slowest base running speed in the entire MLB, but he's racked up over 30 stolen bases with the Mariners now.
Step on second of the throw, Alec gets deflected. It bounces up in the air. That should be 1 out, but I've never seen that before.
Oh my goodness. That went off of Josh Naylor as the throw was going to first base. We've never seen anything like this at all. We've seen some crazy stuff in baseball in the past, such as when George Kirby had a ball thrown to him from one of the fans, and Josh Schneider's coming out as they take this a look. But we've never seen this before. They get the out at second, but Naylor jumped up. Now, Schneider is thinking that this is interference, but what is this going to be?
So, Alec, I know admittedly you got the camera shots now. Bieber obviously upset. But what can you say? I mean, the throw hit him in the back of his helmet. If the throw hits him in the head, how can you even argue that you turn in a double play? It's an inaccurate throw.
I mean, if it's not inaccurate, then you have to say for the very least that if you're trying to get the out at first, you probably might not want to throw in the direction of Josh Naylor, but they are reviewing this, and Schneider want us to have this discuss if this is not interference, or if this is interference or not, because he thinks that Naylor interfered with the throw.
I'm not even going to attempt to guess here, Alec, admittedly, because I just said that's my first look in this series, particularly with Toronto. I've never seen this play before. The throw literally from shortstop, Jimenez hit Naylor right in the back of his helmet as we get a look now. So again, no problem getting the out at second. Question now was for Polanco, but I mean, this was a cannon shot that went up in the air, and there was no play to be had after that.
Oh my goodness, we see something new every day, John.
We do. It doesn't matter what it is. And Ernie Clement was going sidearm, a la Matthew Stafford and the Rams, and that one just bounced like a pinball. Looks like we might be getting the call here momentarily.
So we'll see what it is, but a throw from Clement tried to throw all the way to first, but it feels like we have a ruling.
We are going to get a double play. And honestly, I think Alec, from his initial call, was right. They were thinking about offensive interference. I guess that's what the call is. I wouldn't mind it if I'm a Blue Jays fan, but at the same time, when the ball hits somebody in the head, it does give me a double take. But as it is, that ends the first.
Yeah, I won't disagree with the ruling because Naylor was in the way of that throw, and had he not been in the way, then that would have been a double play. But what a ridiculous scene that we've seen. I mean, we've never seen anything like this before.
No, there's always something in between when you and I do broadcasts or if Cooper joins in. There's always going to be something there. But we will say this, as much as I mentioned that Seattle probably needs to get another run, at least they got one. And the one player that they needed to come through, we mentioned the opener, Julio Rodriguez, he did. That was a big double.
It was, as J-Rod came all the way home with Josh Naylor delivering in Yes, of course. The story for the Mariners has been Naylor, considering he's been their best hitter this series. If we're talking players that need to absolutely come through, it's the guy in the mound, George Kirby, considering that he's been bad on the road this season.
It's crazy when you think about that because I'm not going to argue any of those points. You're correct, but when he's playing, as you mentioned, at T-Mobile Park, he's absolutely untouchable. And he's a guy that I seen the last time out against the Tigers that was topping out at 100, got 5 different pitches. He can be very good. The one thing in the back of our minds, Alec, and we'll see when we get toward the 6th and 7th inning. I mean, we might be seeing Luis Castillo as well for Seattle. We could be seeing Kevin Gausman. It's going to be all hands on deck for Toronto as well. We're going to probably see some other starters today.
As far as we know, everyone except for the starters that pitched yesterday are available. So that means no Logan Gilbert, no Trey Savage. But we do know that Kevin Gausman is absolutely available. Who these managers are going to go to for Game 7 from the bullpen are the guys they trust. And that includes their aces. So that means we could be seeing Gausman. We could be seeing Brian Wu. We could be seeing Bryce Miller, too.
That would be something. The only thing I can imagine from yesterday when I watched a little bit of that game, I know you covered it, I would say probably in terms of the back end closing for Toronto, things could be a little bit different there. Sir Anthony Dominguez going to be available, but let me look through my notes here. As far as Jeff Hoffman, he threw about 40 pitches yesterday. I would imagine, if possible, Alec, they won't use him.
Yeah, at the very best, if you were to use him, just at the maximum 180, and that's it.
That's really all you can do. Again, Alec mentioned for Kirby, 0-1 in the postseason with a 7.07 ERA and 14 innings pitched. He's a much, much better pitcher than that. Four-seam slider, sink, knuckle curve, and an occasional split and changeup. Again, I seen him top out at about 100 when he's right. That fastball up in the zone in the kitchen, changeups down in the dirt, maybe inside sliders. He does have it all. But this Blue Jays lineup, admittedly, my first look of the year, has been able to get it done by committee. They've been veteran laden. They don't strike out a ton. They make contact, and they're pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Is 98 immediately backs away George Springer. It's 1-0.
Yeah, George Springer up against George Kirby. George versus George. And I know Springer wants another shot at the World Series, and up against the team that he beat in 2017 when he was a Houston Astro World Series MVP.
Guys that'll be very familiar with each other. That's a great point from the AL West in the mix of Houston and now with the Toronto side in this Game 7. There's a couple of fastballs. No question what Kirby's trying to do. Back away George Springer from the plate as he will wait on a 2-0. Gets a sign from Cal, 97 in that same spot. It's been nothing but high sinkers, 2-1.
And Springer need to get it well the way each and every time those first two pitches. I know fans are upset because he was already hurt earlier in the series in Game 5 when he took that fastball to his knee. They don't want to see their leadoff man go down.
No, because that DH that you have, and that we mentioned his numbers, he's been absolutely ridiculous. I don't think the Blue Jays even expected, I know from this last year, to have him hit 309 and 32 tanks. You couldn't really ask for more.
No, I mean, he's been absolutely lights out and having one of the best seasons of his career at 36 years old.
Right. And again, you think about who isn't on the Astros. I know they didn't advance, but you lose somebody like Springer, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman. Those are all pieces that are going to new teams that have all performed. Again, though, we're in still the Final Four here, trying to see who joins the Dodgers. Is 98. That's a perfect at-bat from Springer. That's on the black. He doesn't budge, and it's a walk for Kirby to start his day.
And we know how good Springer is at the plate. He likes to put the ball in play, but he's very disciplined when he is surveying every pitch that is thrown. That he sees in each ball that is thrown, and if it's outside, don't offer at it. And he plays that one to perfection.
Yeah, he could have went either way. As now 98 from Nathan Lucas is 1-0. Well, fastball sinker combo right now hasn't really dotted as much as you'd like. It's still pretty early here. As you get a chance to look at this 1-0 lead for Seattle, but we're starting bottom first. It's Springer at first with a walk as we're just getting underway at Rogers. John Hunter with you alongside Alec Nava. 99 on the fastball. It's the hardest of the day, 1-1.
As we know about Lucas is batting 348 in this ALCS, as he can see very well over the left field side and at the plate at the 2 spot. That could be the sweet spot for him.
See if you can try to time something up in the zone. Here's a sinker, Randy Arozarena. Courtesy look will make the catch just shy of the track in the foul side, as it will put Springer back at first, 1 out.
Now that you're up against Vlad Guerrero Jr., as Arozarena was shy of foul ground, if you're now up against Vlad Guerrero Jr., whether you walk him or pitch to him, you're playing with fire either way. Because if Vladdy Jr. hits one out, it can be trouble if you're Seattle. If you walk him, that means Alejandro Kirk is on and he can blast it out too.
Yeah, and he's absolutely excellent at bat-to-baseball skills. Again, in the regular season for Kirk, he had just 59 strikeouts. Now, when you look at Vlad's regular season numbers, 292, 23 bombs, and 84 RBI seems miserably low. But I mean, this guy, throughout his playoffs right now, is almost hitting 550 combined as 98. That was right in the middle of the honey hole. It's 0-2.
It just doesn't seem real, his batting averages. We know 300 would be a superstar level. But 409 in this ALCS, close to 500 in the postseason as a whole, oh yeah, he has it.
0-2. This is right through the shortstop hole. That's going to go station to station there for Springer. Solid single, I guess, is as good as a walk. It'll be Alejandro Kirk with 2 on and 1 out.
So it's better a single than to give up extra bases here if you're Seattle. Now you have runners at first and second and Alejandro Kirk coming onto the plate. We know what Kirk can do.
A lot of good defense there for Kirk. Again, a 282 average. He's played a lot of games. He's very dependable, just like Cal Raleigh is for Seattle. When you have premium hitting catchers with defense as well, it's honestly a luxury. There's not a lot of those guys in the league, but you don't want to extend it that much. Now, if I have to guess in the 5-hole, Dalton Varsho would probably be the weakest link in this lineup outside of Jimenez. But you still got to get there. Kirk does not run well, though, so double play is in order between Vladdy and Kirk. Kirby's going to try to induce it. Here's pitch 13. This one is blocked out in front, but not far enough. It's 1-0. The runners will stay put.
And you mentioned about Kirk's base running ability and lack thereof, that could be the key for Seattle if you want to get a double play and to give them a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, you'd think about a 1 to 100 percentile. Kirk's speed is probably at like 10, and that's me being maybe a little bit kind. He's not the fastest runner, but it's not about that now. It's trying to find a hole. Think about Luis Ariz when he used to be with the Twins and now with the Padres, just constantly making contact. And we get an early meeting on the mound here between Raleigh and Kirby, trying to figure out what they want to do here.
I don't blame that because George Kirby has been not having a good start so far. He had runners at first and second, and with just 1 out. And the best case scenario would be a double play to put this away. But now you have Alejandro Kirk at the plate, and we know that he doesn't run well, but he can really hit well. In one of those games, he hit a double, which is one of the first times he's hit a double in this postseason.
Perfect pitch, does not get the call on a slider. It was on the low inside black, but it's 2-0.
How does that happen? I mean, we know umpires can have their strike zones moved around, but that was on the bottom line perfectly placed. How do you not call that?
Kirby needs these strikes, 2-0, and now it's going to get it. Again, Raleigh didn't have to frame it. Those are both dots. It's 2-1.
That time it's better placement that time around for George Kirby. Not even a debate this time as the umpire is called Quinn Wolcott at home plate.
Springer at second, Guerrero at first, Kirk at the dish, 2-1 count. High on a sinker, 3-1. It's getting dangerous now.
So now we know about George Kirby and his ability to deliver, but given that he's been slumping, we wonder, it's fair to say this, how long his leash is going to be.
We'll have to wonder, Alec, as we press on. I agree with you. 98 on the outside black, 3-2. Kirby is really trying to dot against Kirk. He's got 2 of the 3 pitches called. That was perfect again.
Yeah, Kirk thought he had the walk, but the umpire saw this on the left line.
Full count pitch. Runners at first and second. Toronto down a run, but they could add. 3-2. This one's popped up in the air. Naylor discards the helmet, but this one goes in the crowd. I'll do it again.
So Kirk has to breathe a sigh of relief here, given that it was a foul ground. Josh Naylor wanted to go after it, but not even close.
Full count pitch. Kirby in early stress. Again, it's only 19 pitches, but it's 1 out. As you kind of wonder, as Alec mentioned, how many bullets he's going to be able to get to throw, considering it's a game 7. Full count for the second time around against Kirk. This one, again, fouled away, straight back amongst the screen.
And we wonder how many innings that could be, maybe 4 or 5 innings, probably a similar workload to what we had against Detroit in game 5. Treat this as a game 7.
I'm right there in line with you, Alec. We'll see what we get. This will be pitch number 8 to Kirk alone. 3rd full count. This one, 98, and it blew him away. He was late on a fastball, 2nd out.
A sigh of relief for Kirby. He swung at it and missed it on the fastball, and that blew him away, top right corner. So you don't need to get a double play anymore. Just 1 more out, and you can get out of this jam.
Now, again, I don't want to count my chickens before it hatches here with Dalton Varsho, but I said that's probably the one name I look at in this lineup thinking that there could be an out. Really, there's not a lot of breath that you can take in between Toronto or Seattle. These lineups are elite, as well as the Dodgers as well. But we got another week before that even happens. Dodgers have a really long way off. 88 on a slider. That's a miserable swing. He was way out in front, 0-1.
We know Varsho has been inconsistent in the years before this season. Though that one, he wants to have that one back. It was inside, and he tested it.
See what they go after the off-speed pitch. Another one. This one through the hole. Unbelievable. Varsho just threw his bat out at it, and it's a tie game. No business to be a run, but yes, it is.
Has a diving Julio Rodriguez, and right through the hole, he scored George Springer, moves Vladdy to 3rd, and Dalton Varsho, we mentioned, is the weakest link on this order, and that is in quotation marks because there's not exactly a weak link on the order, but he gets the first run past the hole as Rivas. He tried to dive for it, but was off by a little bit on the timing on the dive. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he had to flail for it a little bit below the strike zone because it was about 6 inches below. But he did get the top of the bat head on it. He just had to reach out for it, but he got it there. And now Ernie Clement, Alec's been telling me, has been ridiculously hot throughout the playoffs and the regular season. 98 on a fastball, a little late, 0-1.
And you see people getting on their feet because he has been red hot this postseason. Yeah, he wants the long ball.
And if Kirby can get out of this with just 1 run, you think you have to take it. It'd be the same for Bieber, 86 and a knuckle curve. And the one thing I'm noticing now, Alec, even on these off-speed pitches that are way out, the Blue Jays look like they're ready for him right now.
Yeah, it looks like the Blue Jays, they are wanting to go after these pitches. And for the 5 through 9 hitters this series, it wins their batting 383 and losses 113. Big difference between wins and losses. But that's where it stands right now.
98. This one high. Drives Rodriguez back just shy of the warning track, but he makes the catch. And after 1, it's been eventful. Both teams have scored 1 run.
How fitting is this that we are having ourselves an early appetizer for what could be a Game 7 to remember between these two franchises that are both 48 years old. They both came in 1977. It's all not about one apiece. Of course, we know Seattle was trying to end their long drought of not having a World Series appearance. Toronto, they want to make their country proud and their city proud.
I think there's a lot to be, and again, I know one can only go to the World Series to play the Dodgers, but if you're Toronto, even more so than the Mariners, again, please enlighten me during this break, but how did the Blue Jays do this year?
Beats us, John. Nobody expected the Blue Jays to win the AL East, let alone make the postseason, considering the contract dilemma of Vlad Guerrero Jr. You lock him up for 14 years at $500 million. That's the best thing that can happen to this franchise. And John Schneider preached internal options that you keep Vladdy and you get rewarded for it. But you go on an explosion in which you win the division and then go to the ALCS and possibly reach the World Series here with a win. This is a season to remember. They might have just restarted their contention window all over again.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to you, I mean, with regardless of Guerrero and Barger, who are some of the younger pieces, these have been some guys that have been journeymen. These have been some guys that are in their 30s, not late 30s, but in their 30s. A lot of older players are veterans, and yet when you think about it, they've got the job done. Again, they added Yimi Garcia. I know he's injured throughout this part of it now, but Sir Anthony Dominguez did a decent job at the deadline. Ernie Clement's been good. But I have to think John Schneider probably got or should get some votes for Manager of the Year.
He should, considering the job he's put up. His job was called to question. Same thing with Ross Atkins, the general manager.
Yeah.
These should save their own jobs with the outstanding performances all season long. And I gotta give full kudos to Schneider. No matter how the Blue Jays finished this year, he saved his job.
Yeah, because let me put it to you like this. I know it was a couple of years ago now between Texas and the Arizona Diamondbacks, but that was a team alongside Torey Lovullo. And you remember me saying this, Alec. I thought that they were going to be back and they were going to be doing some damage. And we haven't seen the same level from the Diamondbacks. I guess now the only question, whenever it's all done for the Blue Jays, whether or not they can do it again, but still, it's been a great year.
It has been. As we know about the Diamondbacks, it was a great year when they made it to the World Series. And now they brought them up. It's curious in what direction they go now.
Yeah.
And they are looking like they're trending towards a retool with Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte. But the main goal for them is a full year out of Corbin Burns. Because this year was a lost year considering that he was out for the season.
Absolutely.
And that first pitch ball downstairs to playoff ready.
And I'm going to look here, admittedly, at Shane Bieber. I want to see if I can find some of that Cy Young form as it's a 1-1 game in the second.
1-1 is 1-1 the count up against Randy Arozarena, who made his hallmark in 2020 back with the Tampa Bay Rays. The 1-1 pitch is downstairs again, 93 on the fastball. His fastball's not what he used to be, but we do know what Bieber's capable of, even when coming back from a year and a half off baseball. 2-1 pitch is on the way to Arozarena, and he bows this one to right.
As we said, he can still use those knuckle curves, changeups, sliders for strikes. He's very good at getting punch-outs on all of his pitches.
No matter which pitch he is, it's a 5-pitch arsenal for Bieber. The former Cy Young winner with the Cleveland Indians. Here's a 2-2. It's grounded past Jimenez and on the left center for a base hit. And Arozarena, who got 2 hits last game yesterday, may start to feel his confidence get back up here in Game 7.
Well, we're getting way on the over as far as diving in the middle infield, whether it's the first baseman or now Jimenez, the shortstop, as you said. We got 3 infield hits already between the two teams.
Yeah, that's 3 times in which it squeaked right by diving attempts from either side. 1 past Guerrero, 1 past Rivas, and now 1 past Jimenez. It's off his glove. This curveball was upstairs for Gino Suarez. He hit that grand slam in Game 5. Perhaps another moment from him.
Looks like for Gino, this is his time. He's finally starting to get warm. I agree with you.
A big acquisition on the third base side and a big upgrade to plate. Suarez lifts one to center. This will go station to station for all the base runners. Arozarena to second where he's held. It's back-to-back singles.
That reminds me, we just talked about the Diamondbacks during the break. That inside-out swing there got all of the base full and the label. No swing and miss there. That was driven right back up the middle. Good swing.
And that's where Suarez and Naylor started the year with
Yes.
the Diamondbacks. They reunited here in Seattle, back as teammates, and now here's the longest tenured Mariner, J.P. Crawford, batting out the 7th spot at shortstop. One of the best defensive shortstops. He shows butt, puts it on the ground. This will move the base runners. He is out at first, but he accomplished his goal. Sacrificed himself to move Arozarena to third.
I'm just going to ask you, Alec, do you like that play and alongside for Dan Wilson? I'm sure they put the sign out for him to bunt. J.P. Crawford executed. They just want to try to get some runs here.
Yeah, they need it. And early they're getting those runs. That's going with the base runners moving from second to third, first to second. You execute what you have to do. Nice job there by JP.
Leo Rivas, it was his birthday last week. He turned 28. His first ever pinch hit off the bench. Scored a key run against the Tigers. See what he can do here.
It's a first pitch strike on the fastball. They have cycled kind of the left up towards the right field side short, and then Jimenez closer to second base. So that leaves Ernie Clement on an island over at third base to adjust the defensive strategy so as to account for possible outs. Rivas fouls this one off on the changeup. It's 0-2.
I would have to think, as they show the graphic between 7 and 9, if that continues to be a problem here, we might even see Dom Canzone today.
Canzone hasn't been batting particularly well. He just got a second hit all postseason yesterday, and the only reason he was filling in was because of Victor Robles getting injured earlier in the series. Now Robles is on deck. He's batting .083 this ALCS. Rivas readies himself up. The strikeout comparison this postseason, Toronto has 59 postseason strikeouts, 35 of it in the ALCS. Seattle is 123 all postseason. And here's another one as Rivas goes golfing. He'll sit down.
That knuckle curve fell right down in the dirt. I mean, he swung way before that ball even hit the glove. He had no chance, Alec.
Absolutely not. It was going towards the dirt, and he chased it. A bad decision by Rivas, but now Robles at the plate. It's a chance for him to get his confidence back up, and if he does reach, then that means we go back to the leadoff man, J-Rod. 1 for 12 this series is Robles with a 237 OPS. Inserted back into life for the first time since Game 3. On the ground, this should be enough time to go to first, and there's the final out. So despite the sacrifice bump from J.P. Crawford, the Blue Jays get out of the gem, the stranded runners.
That's why I was asking you, and I didn't realize it was going to turn out that way because we didn't have a crystal ball. But you get a couple of hits, and alongside Arozarena and Suarez with no outs, you're looking good. Now, J.P. Crawford lays it down, as you mentioned. You get runners at second and third. All you need is a deep fly ball or something else. And the way that Rivas and Robles swung at those pitches, they didn't look exactly confident. And that makes me wonder what's going to happen later in this game. As I mentioned, maybe Dom Canzone, although you told me that his numbers haven't been so great, they're going to need guys at the 8 and 9 hole come through if J.P. Crawford's moved up to 7 today, as he is.
And that's a fair point, John, because we know about the 7 through 9 spot and the woes for Seattle on those 7 through 9 spots. That includes J.P. Crawford himself, in which he was moved up from the 9th spot to the 7th spot. And at the 7th spot, I felt like he's getting his confidence up.
So we're going to take you through some of the scoreboard immediately as we go across. It is interesting because I know Cooper Hopkins is watching his Seattle Mariners, but you also have the Seahawks playing the late game against Houston, and I have the Lions playing against Tampa Bay. I guess they're up 14-3 at the half.
Now we know about all 3 Seattle teams playing tonight. The Kraken, unfortunately, they're down 5-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. And the hope for Seattle Sports is that they go 3-0, but not a good start for Seattle after 2.
Yeah, and you want to make sure you had a great start to the year if you're Seattle. And Philadelphia might be one of those teams that are a pain to play against because we mentioned before alongside Rick Tocchet, probably going to get a few more wins with him as your coach than you expect to.
Yeah, and with Philadelphia in a rebuilding phase, I know for a fact that for a competitive team, Rick Tocchet will be the ideal coach.
Yeah.
For a rebuilding team like Philadelphia, it's interesting because he's a defense first coach, Not like John Tortorella, but it's still defense first. And you want to get the most out of your guys like Michkov, Zegras, Konechny. You know defense is associated with Couturier, Konechny, Forrester, and Tippett. Owen Tippett's a good scorer himself, but the most important part for the Flyers is the development of Michkov and Zegras.
Absolutely. And again, admittedly for myself, I'm still a little flabbergasted that Zegras is no longer a Duck. But again, it didn't come with the production. He's going to get a chance to get a fresh start, and he's going to get a chance to get a fresh start with a no-nonsense coach like Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, back here in Toronto, where it's Shane Bieber, who was pumped up after getting the final out with Victor Robles, and we know Philadelphia, they want to get the most with Rick Tocchet. They can build on this. Now, George Kirby back on the mound up against Addison Barger, batting 7. Had a home run yesterday. This downstairs on the knuckle curve. 1-0.
Again, Kirby can throw about 7 different pitches. He started to dot when it really was ducks on the pond, only gave up 1 run. So this has been a well-played game so far. A lot of infield hits.
Slider at 88 found the zone, and we want to know if Kirby is going to get his confidence back. He pitched 25 times in the first inning. We'll see how long he goes here in this second inning. The shorter the pitch count, the better. Barger puts it on the ground, fair, and then off the wall. No, they're going to rule it as a foul ball. I thought it was fair.
On my initial look, Alec, admittedly, I thought the same thing, so I don't blame you. Barger's going to have to dig back in, but he went on an inside fastball, and he almost drove that for extra bases.
Yeah, we both thought the same thing. There was going to be a fair ball, but it didn't look that way. And the umpire called it a foul ball. I don't know if it left the base paths long enough for it to be ruled as such, but whatever goes, goes, I guess. So we'll do it again.
And I could say the same thing. I don't believe those calls, Alec, are reviewable until we get to the rules next year, possibly.
2-2, and of course we noted about some of the calls that are missed. Balls that could be strikes that could be balls. And we could be seeing the introduction of the helmet tackle. We're going to be seeing a lot of that next year. 2-2 to Barger. It's on the ground to JP. He'll make the throw all the way to first, and Barger's out.
Yeah, it was a little bit low of a throw there from JP, but no problem as Naylor snags the big glove out there. It's honestly fun as this game goes along just to watch both first basemen and Naylor and Guerrero go to work.
Power against power. And first basemen are typically known for power, while guys like second basemen and shortstops are both more known for base running and speed, such as the case for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, picked up off waivers from the Pittsburgh Pirates as the first pitch is caught a ball just barely outside the zone.
That seems like an absolute gift for the Blue Jays, by the way, to get him off waivers.
Yeah, it is. Which makes you wonder what was the plan like Ben Cherington to not trade away IKF at the deadline. Here's the 1-0. It's on a line, caught by Naylor, and he plays him catch with Rivas afterwards. 2 out.
That was an absolute bullet. It was come back from a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. But 7-8-9, no problem so far for Kirby. I'll leave it up to Andres Jimenez.
Both he and Naylor were teammates last year with the Cleveland Guardians when they went to the ALCS up against the New York Yankees when David Fry won the Game 3 in the 10th inning. And Juan Soto happened in Game 5 in the 10th. On the ground again. JP picks it up again. Derek Jeter like throw. No play. And Jimenez is safe.
Yeah, no chance to beat him on the infield single. Too much speed. I didn't throw this in my notes in particular, but Jimenez probably one of those guys. Not the most fleet of foot as far as trying to steal bases. He does have a lead speed, but probably about 15 bags. And that's about the upper reaches of the Blue Jays here, about 15 to 17 bags, a couple former Guardians, and Jimenez and Straw, if we see him today.
We mentioned Miles Straw, who sparked his outfield. Joey Loperfido, who was called up with Anthony Santander, rolled out for the rest of this postseason. But we have George Springer, who can play both outfield and DH. He takes a first pitch ball upstairs. He walked the first time around, batting .269 this series.
Jimenez thought about going there, Alec.
He did. The defensive ace for Toronto throughout this season. Where to be second base, yeah, he tried to go. It's ball 2, but he thought about stealing second base. He reconsidered it, knowing that he might not have enough time. and knowing that's Cal Raleigh. Golf steals in 14 attempts is Jimenez on the year. The 2-0 is on the ground to Gino Suarez. Long throw to first. No doubt about it. That puts Springer away, keeps the game tied after 2.
We talked about he did a good job in the Open. I know it was brief when I just joined on, but it says 7, 8, 9. A lot of contact, not a lot of strikeouts. We saw a lot of infield plays. Crawford wasn't able to make the one against Jimenez, honestly, because there's too much speed. But good work there in the infield. And the second goes quietly, no runs scored. It's still 1-1.
A good job by Seattle's defense. They wanted to make up for yesterday's off day when they committed 3 errors, 2 of them fielding errors that we know of. Of course, Julio Rodriguez turned a single into a two-run to an extra base run by Ernie Clement when he dropped a routine play over center field that could have held Clement to a single. And then Eugenio Suarez could pick it up for what could be a tailor-made double play. Now, Suarez, of course, he dropped an early ball. In fairness to him, he tried to barehand it all the way to first base. And you can only do so much when it goes off your bare hand.
Yes.
The third one is Cal Raleigh uncharacteristically throwing the ball away. That's not what we know of from Cal Raleigh. He's better than that.
No, Cal Raleigh, you never see him make those type of plays, but I will defend you alongside with Gino. When I saw that barehanded play when you're running across the third base line, those are almost impossible. And if you don't get it right the first time, you're not going to be able to make the play.
You have to do it quick and perfectly. Otherwise, it's going to become an infield single on that. So in fairness, he did what he had to do. Toronto did one of their own on the barehanded plays, and it was similar results in which it resulted in an infield single. But the point is still the point.
So as we said, it's a 1-1 game. We've got some commercials where we go to the third. I'll take back over and switch off again throughout the entire game. I am hopeful at some point, depending on the scoreline, if Seattle goes up by a few runs, that we will see Cooper. We are wishing him the best because you know this is the type of game. I know he would probably be thinking about the Seahawks as well, but I imagine all that's on the Seattle fans' mind today are the M's.
Well, yes. The M's are the first priority because this is the biggest game of the franchise's history in their 48 years, even bigger than anything that came up in 1995, bigger than Edgar Martinez's double, bigger than any game in that 2001 season with Ichiro, bigger than the perfect game from Felix Hernandez, and bigger than any of the games from 2022.
Yeah, when you mention some of those names that are instant first ballot Hall of Famers, and then I look at this lineup right now and this team, and I know people will think that I'm crazy, but this lineup in this team has those same expectations as a team from yesteryear they were talking about in 2001 and the 90s and the like.
Yeah, this is easily the best Mariners team that we've seen of all time, and that's even considering 2001, John.
That's what I feel as well as Julio Rodriguez. This is an inside fastball, bounces it off his knee. He's just going to need a second here as Shane Bieber will be throwing pitch number 34. Now, honestly, between what Alec and I have watched, you got 4 hits for Seattle, 1 run. You got 1 run for Toronto, 3 hits. I think both of these pitchers have had to deal with some ducks in the pond, but they've done a good job making pitches when they need to and inducing ground balls.
Yeah, as long as they continue to go through, they'll be all right.
This is toward the right side of the pink knee guard for J-Rod. But again, he's just continuing to shake that out off the inside of the knee. There's no way they're going to be able to take him out of the ball game. He just needs a little more extra time, as I mentioned. It's 1, 2, 3, and the part of the order here to begin the third. Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor, John Hunter with you alongside Alec Nava, who very graciously joined me for this Game 7. I wish I could have joined him yesterday, but still too busy with the move and all of the other stuff here. But a good chance to dig back in. And then I think on Thursday, I know Alec's going to have basketball for us tomorrow, but I think on Thursday we might have some Avalanche and Hurricanes. We'll see if the Hurricanes will still be undefeated. Got to imagine Alec's pretty excited about that.
Yeah, given the Hurricanes, and they're a very surprising undefeated team. I did not expect the undefeated stars at 0-2 on the count of swing and miss, but the undefeated start was a pleasant surprise, and Keandre Miller's been a revelation.
Another good pick up there alongside the blue shirts. Half-hearted swing. Oh, no, they say. I thought Rodriguez might have bit. He's probably still thinking about his inside of his leg. I am not sure that wasn't a swing, but that's the call. He's alive.
Just barely stayed at the plate. I wasn't sure about it either, but yeah, he just barely retracted on time. Or was this side? We don't know either which way.
I think he could have went either way with that Alec if they wanted to, and there would have been no argument. Knuckle curve misses in the dirt. It's 2-2 against J-Rod. He's already got a double and a run scored today. This 89, this is going to be a deep play in the hole, and question of not whether it was foul. We're going to do it again. Ernie Clement made the toss over, but now if J-Rod was already thinking about that knee, he's got to go back and swing again.
Oh, okay, so they're going to take a foul ball.
Yes.
I thought that this was a playable one for Ernie Clement, but nonetheless, just in case if it was fair, it's all throwing practice for Clement either way.
Second player in MLB history of multiple 30-30 seasons, 24 or younger. That's 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. This guy can do it all. He's been defecting over from age 16 when he signed the contract with the Seattle Mariners, and they're happy to have him. He's already got his payday. Again, big leverage at bats. Still the second MVP candidate in Raleigh, still available and going, as it's another 2-2 pitch from J-Rod, starting to drive up Shane Bieber's pitch count.
It's still a 2-2 count, and we know how good he can be. He's the only player in MLB history who at least 110 home runs and 110 stolen bases in his first 4 seasons.
85. This is a high knuckle curve. It's in the wall. It's gone. Julio Rodriguez. It's 2-1.
His moments, he knows his ballpark just as well as any other Mariner. We can go back to 2022, and while that game, in game 2, where they trailed 8-1, it was a very different context in which George Kirby was trying to protect the lead, trying to close it out. But here, J-Rod goes out of the park for a 4th time in this postseason. This kid is special.
And he fouls it off his knee. He got a chance on the third base side. It was just foul. Then he takes an off-speed pitch, slams it across left field, 423 feet.
That is incredible. You foul him off. He fouls it off his own ankle at first, and then he stays on the plate. You know, there's no way that Dan Wilson is going to take him off the mound as Raleigh grounds one to first for the out. But nonetheless, he gets to try it. You foul it off yourself. That's going to sting, but you try to save the play, and he'll launch one way out. Wow.
Yeah, maybe when I talked about it with an opening here for Julio Rodriguez and his lack of success from Game 5 since moving up, he's taking this Game 7. He's already 2 for 2. Big swing for Naylor. But this one now caught just shy of the warning track. Edison Barger makes the catch. And Seattle's bats starting to time Bieber's off-speed pitches.
So Seattle's getting more confident the more they see Bieber. Now, that's the second time around in the order. We know that confidence can build up the more you see your pitcher. So the more you see him, the more confident you're going to get facing them.
4 for 6 are the M's on Bieber's slider. Make no mistake, between the fastball and changeup, that's one of the pitches he uses to get punchies. And right now, that ball is being punched to right field. It's been knocked out of the ballpark. And Jorge Polanco now trying to add on to this 2-1 lead. Little fence post scoring for Seattle with these single runs in the first and third. It's 2-0. He misses on another knuckle curve.
Polanco is the type of player that you want for playoff heroes. And one of those pitches was closer to his feet, but nonetheless, he's the type of player that you need if you want a playoff hero. We know about his series against Detroit. Early going to the series, he was lights out.
Absolutely dominant from the time from the Twins and now alongside for Seattle. That was not fun for me between Polanco and Naylor, but you're absolutely right. And again, you talk about a lot of the moves that have been made in the offseason and alongside for the Mariners and the GM brass. Cooper said it right. You said it right. I was thinking the same thing. They were chasing a playoff spot, Alec, and yet they still added at the deadline and Jerry Dipoto. and they're a game away. They got a 2-1 lead right now. It's a 2-2 count. Way high again on a changeup. It's full against Polanco.
And with the fans on their feet, they know that the goal in mind is to get the final out. They trust Bieber for these situations, knowing how good he can be.
And again, as you mentioned, and I absolutely agree with you, in terms of Bieber and Kirby, yes, you do trust him, but you're thinking at this point with 47 pitches, maybe if he gets through 5, that might be the most before they flip over to Kevin Gausman. I think we are going to see him today, if I have to bet my life on it, as we wait on another 3-2. Seattle has just taken the lead as J-Rod's 2 for 2 with a tank. Polanco, this one up the middle. Another ball past the diving infield, and it's a solid single for Polanco, but that's the 4th of the game for these two teams.
Real low on Toronto's defensive side when they're trying to go after balls in which it was resulting a single or double. And this time, the grounds went up the middle. Not close for Jimenez or IKF to make the play, but here again, he does the job, Polanco.
So Polanco comes through and it leaves it up to Randy Arozarena. Again, Alec mentioned this earlier in the first. Think about his postseason production. He is one of the most electric postseason players of all. If the Mariners do get to the World Series, I imagine Mr. Arozarena is going to enjoy himself against the Dodgers. He's already 1 for 1 today. He swings and misses on the first. This is way high above the head, but a good block by Kirk. It's 1-1.
We know Arozarena can bribe when it's the postseason. Against the Dodgers, he catched on one of the weirdest endings ever, which he scored on which the ball was thrown away by Will Smith trying to get him on the rundown.
1-1 to Randy. 86 on a slider. That should have been something Arozarena offered at. He didn't. It's 1-2.
That was all day for him to swing at. Decide not to. He thought that was going to be upstairs, but it was on the top 7.
Crowd urging Bieber to get out of this with just 1 run blemish. It's 2-1 Seattle with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch, Randy Arozarena, nothing to think about. Make it 2-2 on a slider.
You mentioned earlier about the possibility of using Gausman. If Bieber's pitch count keeps going up, there's a feeling that we see Gausman earlier than we expect. And that we could see 2, maybe multiple, more than 2 innings from Gausman.
Yeah, that's what's going to make this game so much fun, Al. Can't wait till you get to that part of it as well. Is that a swing and a miss? Yes, it is. Arozarena did go after. He didn't get a piece of it. Seattle punches out with Arozarena, but now before Julio Rodriguez makes it a 2-1 game.
Yeah, he chased the ball, which was way out of the zone, not even close to even be offered at. And that was a big mistake by Arozarena to make.
So we'll go bottom 3. It's 2-1 M's. They've got 6 hits already, Alec. The only problem now is just trying to get those multiple runs scored. That's all they need. They're looking good so far otherwise.
Yeah, they get the home run from Julio Rodriguez, and Seattle is a team that likes the long ball. Even if they go in a pitcher-friendly park like T-Mobile Park, the specialty is home runs.
So again, we just talked about it alongside Bieber and Gausman. The way that Bieber's pitch count is right now is he's in the upper part of the 50s. We might get to Gausman even in the 4th or the 5th. It'll be Lucas Guerrero Jr. and Alejandro Kirk 2, 3, 4 due up when they come back from break.
And if I'm Toronto, I know for the fact that Vladdy can get this one out. You want Vladdy to show up at the best possible time. If I'm Seattle, it's tough because you did want Vladdy twice in Game 5. Decide not to do so in Game 6. But whether you walk him or not, it's tough because right after him comes Kirk. And either way, it's very tough decisions. It's a matter of pick your poison.
Yeah, it is. And the main thing, as you said, with Toronto, just find a way to make contact with the baseball, give Guerrero a chance to drive in 2 with a home run. But if I am Seattle, probably stay away with those hanging off-speed pitches because that's what I've noticed. He loves to hit out.
Yeah, off-speed pitches are Vladdy's favorite. You want to catch him by surprise, but fastballs right down the turn, or sliders.
So I noticed that my +5 point prediction for Tampa is in serious jeopardy. And I know I shouldn't pick against my own team, but the Lions just scored a touchdown. It's 21-9 with 4:39 left in the third quarter.
Oh, I'm mixing some football out there for some good measure, knowing that it's a free sport night. We know basketball starts tomorrow, but admittedly, I will be preoccupied with other matters, so unfortunately, no broadcast, but I will be following opening night very closely. I can't wait for Kevin Durant to make his debut as a Rocket.
So did Kevin Durant get some sort of contract extension, Alec?
And he took a pay cut in doing so, most surprisingly. He was eligible for the Supermax extension of 2 years, $120 million. He took a pay cut of $30 million to save up space. He knows he wants to win one more before he calls it a career. And if this is the final destination for him in Houston, then the hope is that we get him one last ring before he calls it a career.
And real quick, before I get back into the play-by-play here with you, you like that move to bring in Kevin Durant?
The more I see it, the more I love it.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because whether or not, I just wanted your honest thoughts, because I do think the Rockets can be very dangerous when you got Ime Udoka in there as well. We saw it a little bit during the NBA Cup and things like that when we profiled it. Hopefully get to do that again this year, but I really like what the Rockets were. And then they had Kevin Durant. Yeah, they can be very special.
Oh, for sure.
2-0 is the count now against Lucas as a couple of sinkers miss. 97, this one's dotted and up toward the hands. Make it 2-1. Now, Georgia's topped out about 96. We haven't seen triple digits today, but I think he's been pretty good. I think Bieber's been pretty good as well, but giving up some singles that have turned into more. 97 late is Lucas. It's 2-2.
Offer at it, but Kirby, he's getting his confidence back. He got his confidence back in the second inning, and looks like the pitcher that we've known. He's better than a 7 ERA.
Yes, he is, and I love when he challenges hitters with that sinker or the fastball. I think that's when he's at his best. Then that allows you to mix in the knuckle curve and slider, but you got to go up in the zone. That's where he loves to be. If you're Toronto, you got to be ready for it, but it's hard to be ready for 97 to 100 up in the kitchen. As you wait on a 2-2, the last off speed was fall back. Lucas tried one more, same spot up top. It's fouled straight back. It's 2-2 still.
Oh, and Dan Wilson said before the game that this is a team that can overcome any odds. Seattle, that is. But so they have the guys that can go around to overcome any adversity. They've been there and done that before.
88 on a slider. See you later to Nathan Lucas. He was out in front. Here's a punchy for Kirby.
Now, flat up, that was a perfect pitch right down the middle. Lucas tried to go for it because we know Toronto wants to put the ball in play. Lucas tried it, but that was the best pitch that Kirby threw towards Lucas throughout this night.
And you're going to get a great stratomatic of what they showed between the Kirby hits to Guerrero. All of those were low. This is a jam shot. Who wants it? Leo Rivas. Great play deep in the hole at second. The outfield makes the catch. All those ones were low to his liking. That one's a little higher, and Guerrero pops out.
One of the rare times in which Vladdy does not reach base, but that's the first time now. But Rivas, he chased that down perfectly on the run, cutting out Victor Robles on the first pitch. The speed that this infield provides is remarkable.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, Cole Young hasn't been on the playoff roster, but he's another guy who's just 20 years of age who had some big-time moments. There'll be another addition on defense when they get to that next season, assuming the Mariners probably get back close to somewhere in that same point as Alejandro Kirk swinging misses on the first pitch. It's 0-1, and then followed up with a 98 sinker, quickly 0-2. Kirby's starting to find it.
It is. The more that this outing is going along, the more that Kirby is settling into his element, and I like that from him.
90 on a slider will get Raleigh out of the crouch, make it 1-2.
And we mentioned about rookies. You mentioned Cole Young, the other being Ben Williamson, who was starting at third base earlier on the year before they got Eugenio Suarez back. Williamson's been batting good throughout the season when he's on.
This one goes right to J.P. Crawford, no problem. That's a great inning for Kirby. Put up a 0 after that home run. After 3, it's 2-1 M's.
We mentioned Kirby's confidence is coming back up. He needed that second inning. And in the third inning, despite allowing 6 hits throughout the game, Kirby's having himself a rebound outing. We talked about his road starts. He needed this start on the road. Because one game I covered where the Mariners were the designated road team, that was the Little League Classic. Kirby was the starter. It was a so-so day for him. What a game this has been for between the second and third innings.
Yeah, it has. It's been good. I'd like to see it because, like I mentioned, I watched him a few times as well alongside you, Alec. And when he's at his best, he challenges guys with the fastball sinker up top. Again, it's not reinventing the wheel. I think if you're the Blue Jays and you're John Schneider, you know what Kirby's going to throw. He's going to challenge you with inside fastballs. And if you're not ready from 97 to 100, which admittedly is hard to be ready for, you're going to have a tough day.
Yeah, because 97 to 100, that's bringing the heat onto the table.
Yeah, that's what he's very good at. And he knows what he is. That's what he throws. And then if we get to the 5th and 6th, Kirby's still out there. They can go to Brian Wu. We mentioned about Kevin Gausman. We got a long way to go into this game. And from what we're telling you, it's a 2-1 game. Seattle's got the lead right now. But I would have to think with the arms that are available today, runs are probably going to be at a premium.
Yes, you mentioned runs going to be at a premium. And Game 7 is usually for pitching matchups like this. We know that these two can deliver runs when they do. Toronto more so than anyone. They have the best home record in the MLB for at least in the AL for a reason. Because this is their home crowd. They love to feed off the energy of their crowd. But keeping the ball in play is what they do best, as much as I want to say it again and again. But it's the point that we're trying to make. But they need to get the ball in play a lot more than they have throughout the second and third innings.
So I'm looking at this right now on the NHL scoreboard at MSG. The Minnesota Wild have a 2-1 lead on the Blue Shirts, but they're just 2-3-1 on the year. I have to imagine that's going to be a slow start for Minnesota, and it looks like they're struggling to score 5-on-5.
Yeah, they have the best, if not the best, power play percentage in the NHL. 5-on-5 has been a journey, to say the least, and not in a good way. Power play is where they are good at, but Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy is a match made in heaven for Minnesota. And Kaprizov, it was excellent to get him back. And even though he was getting that exorbitant $17 million per year, Minnesota didn't really have a choice.
I think you said it right, Alec, because I was going to say the same thing, is you get set to take over in this 4th inning.
Yep, it's Dan Wilson seeking his first World Series appearance in franchise history, whether it be him as a catcher or him as a manager. Josh Naylor has been doing good ever since that ball hit his back where it appears as Gino. Inside fastball 92 for Bieber. Not the fastest fastball thrower, but he can do it methodically.
Yeah, he's going to have to. As you said, you mix in all 5 of those pitches, and you got to keep these guys off balance.
2-0 as that was at the same location, same pitch. So we're going to see if Bieber switches things up. He does. Went with a knuckle curve, and Gino operated 2-1.
Yeah, you don't want to see that from Gino. It's a little bit too much in the DS, where you get too far out of your zone and get too big of a swing path. Just hit it back up the middle. Don't try to crank it for a home run.
This time it's a slider at the top right, and Bieber got Suarez to jump at it. It is 2-2, and already we have Louis Varland warming up at the bullpen. He pitched yesterday, so he's going to be pitching on no day's rest. But he's an everyday reliever for the Blue Jays. High leverage, middle leverage, you name it. They got him from that electric twist bullpen. And Suarez will punch out, swinging on a slider. That wasn't even close.
I know that's what you saw from some of Gino's return the second time around, but I don't like that, Alec. Admittedly, he had 2-0 count leverage, and he just got a little wild.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. It was way past the knob of the bat. Not even close to being swung at. That's not a ball that he should go after. Now he's J.P. Crawford. Takes one way outside. Does not operate at 93 on the fastball. 1-0.
You mentioned alongside Louis Varland, then he might get the 5th, and then we might see with Gausman after. But you mentioned Varland, not a lot of rest, so you got to be careful about who you trust the most.
1-1, and yes, that includes Jeff Hoffman, who pitched yesterday. 2 innings for the first time since April in a game. Downstairs, the umpire says just barely 2-1. So you may be seeing more of guys like Brandon Little or Sir Anthony Dominguez or Braden Fisher out the bullpen as Crawford goes golfing on a curveball 2-2.
Yeah, Seattle's got to slow down a little bit here and stop getting a little too happy on these swings.
That's the big weakness for the Mariners, that they're a little too trigger happy when it comes to seeing pitches. This time it's fouled back on a curveball, and he had to do that considering he was getting close towards the zone. Bieber City has 63 pitches already. We'll have to see his pitch count.
And as you mentioned, alongside J.P. Crawford moving to 7, he's got to be the guy that kind of controls this bottom of the order.
Yep, as Crawford has moved up. Now that you have Victor Robles at the 9th spot, you want to get the most out of this line. Robles, you have this gives you a better chance at the order. The 2-2 does not offer. The count is full as this one spiked to the dirt. Yet another curveball. One to wonder if this next one's going to be a fastball or not, but regardless, it's Rivas on deck. Count is full. The payoff. And Crawford lines this one to left, and it is near the wall fair. Going to be picked up and dropped. At left field, Crawford's going to reach for a double either way. So Crawford's on deck.
Yeah, Nathan Lucas says this one's played off the wall. It was already going to be a double regardless for 180 feet, but Lucas drops it and Crawford's able to walk into second base.
It's an easy double off the left field wall, lined it up, and it's fair, just several feet shy of the foul line near the 328 marking. Now here's Rivas, who in Game 5 against Detroit was the birthday boy, now 28 years old. The first pitch is just outside on a changeup. We know Bieber can switch things up between 5 pitches. Does he more of the other pitches?
Yeah, we mentioned this in the same spot in the first. Seattle was only held to 1 run. You got a runner in second with less than 2 outs. I got to say it again, Alec. You got to come through here.
And he mixes it up with a nice knuckle curve on the left center side to make it 1-1. That's what we talked about. Mix up the pitches. You can alternate fastball, sinker, slider, curveball, changeup. You can possibly go with splitter. Swing and a miss downstairs on the changeup. Just slightly downstairs, it's 1-2.
That was a perfect changeup there, just enticing enough to get the bat head out in front of it early. Good pitch by Bieber.
An excellent pitch on the off-speed pitch. And those off-speed pitches can catch batters off guard. Such as the case with Derek Skubal, struck out 13 Mariners in Game 5 in that stellar effort and was one of the best players for the Tigers, as per usual. But it's just another day in the offense for Skubal. Here is the 1-2. Rivas sits down, got him on the slider with the swing.
Yeah, he was way out in front. He was looking for fastball. He got that slider, no chance.
The next pitch will be Bieber's 70th, but no chance for Rivas to connect on that. That was another off-speed pitch, and off-speed pitches are arguably tougher to hit than some of the faster ones to throw at. We'll see what Robles can do. 0-77 in this series, rounded on his first at-bat, and he swings and misses on the first slider.
It's not going to be complicated for me here, Alec. The only sign I'm putting down right now, if I'm Kirk to Bieber, is off-speed low until Seattle can prove they can lay off of it.
The only off-speed pitch is what you can want to deliver on the size of the slider this time, 85. Pitch count at 71. We saw Barlett warming up, so the guess is that we'll be seeing him first, and maybe we'll get Gosman for the 6th if that is the likelihood.
Yeah, it's 72 pitches. I would have to agree with you, Alec. I think Bieber's day is going to be done regardless after this.
It is 2-1 as that ball that went downstairs for Robles, the former Washington National, who won a championship there with Anthony Rendon, Patrick Corbin, Juan Soto, and Max Scherzer, and Steven Strasburg. See what he does here on the 2-1. Pick off at second, JP reaches back.
Yeah, Bieber's actually thrown over about 4 times in this game. He's making sure the runner doesn't get the extra 90 feet.
And Bieber is a very good eye. He knows where the runners are at. So when he sees the French steal bases, of course he's going to make sure that they try to pick them up. Downstairs slightly, he went with a cutter, 3-1.
Good discipline there for Robles. He's got count leverage.
This is a hitter's count. We'll see if he gets this one out at one point. Bieber's a little upset. He thought this was a strike, but it is not. It was slightly downstairs. Let's see if this next pitch is in for Bieber, as upstairs he has walked Robles. Now you got runners at first and second.
Here we go, Alec. Whether or not you want to make the move for Bieber to Varland, you're going up against Julio Rodriguez, who's already 2 for 2 today. You can't walk him because you got Cal Raleigh after. We'll go to break first and figure it out, but Seattle could be in business if they come through.
And we know the strength of Seattle has been on home runs when they're at the plate. But we know Toronto's starting rotation has been a revelation this year. Gosman has some excellent postseason starts. Trey Savage has climbed the ladder out of nowhere from single A all the way to the majors. Shane Bieber's rebounded back to form. Max Scherzer had a great start in Game 4. We even saw a bullpen game, which Toronto executed to perfection. But the bullpen has been the biggest question mark all year for Toronto. We saw some bullpen arms that's shown here in the brightest lights. That included Barwin and Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah, you had to make those trades because, again, you mentioned alongside an injury to Yimi Garcia that really hurt. Hoffman, he's been up and down. He's been good lately, but you're absolutely right about Toronto on their bullpen side. And both selfishly for me, just to mention for Max Scherzer, it was nice to see for a game that at least he still got it when it matters.
At 41 years old, at the number 4 spot in the rotation. Nobody could have expected that from him.
No.
But now you have 4 starters here in this rotation. Gosman, Savage, Bieber, Scherzer, and the addition of Chris Bassett to the roster. Yes, Bassett was originally the number 3 spot.
Yes.
But now, with that being taken by Bieber, there could be a possibility Bassett pitches out for a long relief.
Yeah, it could, because he was pretty good alongside the former Oakland Athletics. I know Sacramento before they go to Vegas now, but that was a good pickup for them at least too. But Bieber, you mentioned that in the beginning of the broadcast. I think his outing's been pretty good. Yes, he's responsible for the first 2 runners on in JP and Robles, but I don't think he was bad today. It's just Julio Rodriguez now. We'll see if he comes through.
This is basically for a leverage situation. You want to have the upper hand. So if you're a starter in a Game 7, you're going to have a shorter leash. So it all makes sense if you want to pull Bieber to get Barwin at the plate, or at the mound, I meant. But nonetheless, you pull Bieber, you get Barwin on. Well, good thing. Some things can happen here.
Yeah, we'll see how long Barwin even goes. It might only be just for 1 out, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. Could be for 1 out, could be for 2 out. This out and then 2 more in the 5th inning before Schneider gets Gosman on the mound. 9 2/3 innings, he has 13 strikeouts recorded. He has been a well-trusted arm for Schneider's bullpen, and Rodriguez swings and misses on a curveball, 90 miles an hour. You don't see those every day.
No, what a power curveball from Willie Varland. You got to like that.
Before this game, Julio was 0 for 7 at the leadoff spot. He's 2 for 2 tonight of a home run. The 0-1 doesn't offer. It's another curveball, same location. This time, Rodriguez saw it all the way.
Yeah, it's not like Julio Rodriguez needs a legacy game. He's good, but had a good day so far.
So far, just 24 years old, the 4th-year man out of the Dominican Republic, delivering on the ground. This is caught by Clement. Clement throws all the way to first, just in time for the final out. Beat the buzzer, and Barwin delivers on 3 pitches for the last out.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we'll see if that is his day or whether or not they're going to extend before they go to Gosman, but he did his job. As Alec mentioned, Barland's been used a lot, so you probably be careful about his usage there, but does the job. Schneider gets a big out from his bullpen. It's still a 2-1 lead for Seattle.
And you keep this lead intact, and so as long as you're comfortable with it, you're Seattle, the more runs you put up, then the more comfortable you are at, because Toronto's bullpen can be hit and or miss. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. in just a moment. But Toronto, they need to get more balls into play.
Yeah, they do. And I have to imagine from yesterday, especially, I know there was a lot of double plays for Seattle fans, which would probably make them a little bit angry because I was a little frustrated watching that game. But it has to be a little more refreshing to at least watch a game that feels like playoff baseball and isn't just like 10-8 and 15 runs. Everything that's been crazy in this series, this feels like a game 7.
This truly does. This is more or like what we saw from Philadelphia and Arizona 2 years ago when
Yeah.
we saw that excellent game in between those two teams. And now we're getting something of more closer score, a low scoring bout. That's what playoff baseball really is.
So Varsho is going to get a chance. George Kirby's still going to be out there, according to the ESPN box. I'll let Alec take this when we come back in from break. But he's got the lone RBI on a pitch that went about 6 feet below the zone, but he was able to get his bat head out in front of it, right off the label, and get it through a ground ball single past second base. And that's why it's 2-1. Toronto's got their 1 run. You have the solo shot in the 3rd inning for J-Rod, and then Josh Naylor with an infield single in the 1st, but it's been a good play ball game. 2 runs, 7 hits for Seattle, 1 run, 3 hits for Toronto. Both teams have not committed an error.
A much better defensive effort from Seattle compared to yesterday with those 3 errors, but also a cleaner game over the base pass, considering what the more frustrating place yesterday was when J.P. Crawford stared too long at what he thought was a home run, instead was just a long single from Rivas.
Those are absolutely the plays. If I was a manager or coach, Alec, that would drive me insane.
Those are it. When in doubt, if you think
Run.
If a ball goes long enough and you don't know if it's a home run or not, when in doubt, just keep running.
Yes, you have to. So John Schneider is the one that's going to get the interview, and alongside Ken Rosenthal, and Alec's going to take us to this bottom 4.
John Schneider with a good job this year. Toronto's taking their first World Series appearance in 32 years. Seattle looking for their first one ever. These two 48-year-old franchises. Kirby on the first pitch to Varsho is a strike. Right center on the slider in the zone.
I have to imagine, I know Alec and I had talked about it, whether or not how long the leash is going to be, but Kirby looks to settle in. I wouldn't mind it if he goes at least through 5, but we'll see what we get against Varsho.
We don't mind 5 innings, though we'll have to wonder how long Marlon's going to go once he gets back onto the mound before we assume Gosman's going to come into this game. Kirby on the 1-1, swing and a miss. Came after Varsho with a fastball, top right.
Again, no deviating from the game plan. If you're Raleigh and Kirby there, you got to go after Varsho.
And Varsho's been having a career year. Amidst an injury-plagued career, was a Diamondback, now a Blue Jay. He's been a solid replacement over center field, offensively and defensively. Upstairs on the fastball, and that was after Kevin Kiermaier was traded to the Dodgers, and he got to ride off onto the sunset with a ring.
Yeah, again, at the time, when you talk about it with Toronto and some of those other moves, it was whether or not you thought that was going to work, but you're right. The defensive replacement from Varsho to Kiermaier has been good.
Fouled right, and Varsho's defense has been a beauty with some leaping grabs and some diving attempts after balls. Winner gets the Dodgers on Friday. Game starts at 8. Admittedly, my schedule's all jam-packed nowadays, so I'll be in tight. And Varsho's going to sit down with the sinker that he chased.
Yeah, that inside sinker has been such a pain. Whether you mix that fastball, you got to be able to time and get out in front of it. If you're any sort of late, it's either going to be a jam job or a strikeout.
You're either going to jam it or you're either going to sit down wondering what went wrong with it. And not automatically just swing at it, but just mistimed it. Ball bounced away from Cal on the knuckle curveball. Clement doesn't offer. It's 1-0.
See what Ernie Clement can do. Alec again had mentioned how good his numbers have been. I'm just in awe of the fact that we're seeing the Blue Jays play in this Game 7. George Kirby and the sinker tonight. Batters are 0 for 5 against it.
2-0 as this fastball is and outside, 0 for 5, as you mentioned, against the Sinkers. Despite the game 3, 4 for 7 against Sinkers. Simply put, those bats have not been clicking for them against Kirby Sinker. The 2-0 is in the zone. And once again, we know about the sinker. It can be deadly from Kirby.
Yes, he can. He's just trying to dot that same spot over and over again up high. When you lay those ones down low, as Alec mentioned, that's when Vlad Guerrero was going after it and doing his business. See if Kirby can get out of this.
It is a 3-1 count. He went back to sinker, but just could not find his own that time around. Slightly outside. And now Kirby faced up against a hitter's count against Ernie Clement, who's having the season of his life. The 3-1 pitch is popped up in the air to shallow right. Rivas says he's got it. Calls off Robles. 2 out.
I know we haven't played baseball professionally, Alec, but I have to imagine, even when you know the pitch is coming and you know what spot it's going to be, it's got to be incredibly frustrating, the fact that you still can't get on top of it.
It is, considering Kirby has been shelled in game 3 for 8 hits, 8 earned runs. He's given up 3 hits tonight, just 1 earned run that he's given up. And that one looms large on his scoreboard. Top line to Barger. Once again, going back to the sinker, which has been frustrating the Jays.
Man, that pitch was awfully close. You'll call in a second, but Kirby's looking good here, 61 pitches.
Outside on the fastball, rather inside, just barely on his 61st pitch. He is in good hands, so he has the leverage heading into the 5th inning, considering his stellar night. The only damage was done in the 1st inning. On the 1-1 is a swing and a miss. He switched things up. It's not a sinker, it's the slider that Barger chased.
Question mark, Alec. Was that his best pitch of the night? My goodness.
Could have been, though we can also bring up several of the sinkers that he threw towards the Blue Jays batters. The 1-2. In and out of the glove of Cal Raleigh, and he switched things back up to the sinker. 2-2. Addison Barger had a career game yesterday when he lost a home run, which was a 2-run homer, and had another hit. He's playing some of his best baseball with the Blue Jays. 2-2. On the ground to right. This will reach Robles, and Barger, having the time of his life here in game 6 and 7, reaches base of a single.
And that is one of those that we've been talking about all night with a fastball or sinker that's been up. This one's down toward middle, and it was shot back across right field past the diving Naylor.
And it was Rivas, as he did, this time it was not much of a dive. He tried to get the ball to scoop up this time around, but Kirby knew that he should have had this one back. Now we go to Isaiah Carnivalepa, the former Pirate this year, is IKF directly onto Rivas, who steps at second to get the final out, and this will strand Barger at first.
And thank you for the correction there on Rivas on the second side, but you're right. You go back on the other side for IKF, you get a ground ball. Didn't need to step on the bat because you already had 2 outs in the toss over, but they wanted to get some double play practice anyway. So no damage done. It's still 2-1 as we go to the 5th.
And Kirby's in a good spot, so he can go for this 5th inning, and then it's up in the air for the 6th inning. We know Barr was going to come out there for the 5th, but how long will he go? Because when you're a pitcher pitching in a game 7, your leash is very short. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or a reliever. You have a short leash with you.
Yeah, I agree. I would say the same thing for Kirby. I would definitely give him one more. He's looked very good. We'll see what the pitch count is after 5. But right now, I have no complaints if I'm the Mariners. The only thing I want to see is an extra run. But as we talked about all night in this game 7, considering the pitchers that you're going to face, runs will be at a premium. You got to be able to hit your spots and execute. Kirby's done that. And as I mentioned with Bieber, he only gave up a couple of runs. He didn't pitch poorly. But if you're asking me bullpen to bullpen, who I would take, I'm taking the Mariners.
Of course, 10 times out of 10, I'm choosing the Mariners as well over the Blue Jays bullpen. And even though we know of guys like Hoffman and Barwin on Toronto, this Mariners bullpen is loaded with high leverage arms with Gabe Spire, Edward Bazardo, Matt Brash as the free setup man, and of course, Senor Smoke, Andres Munoz to close things out once you get to him in the ninth inning. Toronto is hoping that they can get something off sooner because against Kirby, you have a better chance compared to the relievers.
Yeah, the only question, I don't want to speak this into existence, and I'm sorry, Cooper, if you're listening at any point. The only chance would be to get some sort of walks against Munoz, but I imagine at this point, at this time of the year in the season, he's not going to do that. He's going to go ahead and attack with his fastball, but you're absolutely right. If Toronto's going to score some runs, probably going to have to do it here between the fifth and sixth, because when you get to the back end of that rested bullpen, hopefully, things will look good. And I will give Bizzardo a shout out because during that marathon of an extra inning, game 5 against the Tigers, he came out and threw over 2 innings of work and he was scoreless. So good on him for that.
Good on him. So as he continues to deliver, Jeff Hoffman, I'll give him a shout out too because it's been since April when he's last pitched his 2 innings of play. He lasted 40 pitches. So you wonder how his pitch count's going to be. I imagine it's just 1 inning at the max.
And I agree with you, but I also think at the same time for the Tigers and AJ Hinch and Will Vest, Will Vest is like, what do you mean only 2 innings? Because he's always going out for multiple innings.
There's a swing and a miss from Cal.
So 0-1, Louis Varland's back out there. So Alec was right. He's probably going to get a clean inning here before we then go to the bullpen. This one, Cal Raleigh, that one's not coming back. Another solo shot to right field.
65 home runs on the year, and that was caught by one of the relievers by the Mariners as they celebrate. Well, they're celebrating early as Cal Raleigh delivers 5 home runs. His 5th home run this postseason. I know somewhere Ken Griffey Jr. has to be happy watching this, knowing his legendary 1995 postseason. Edgar Martinez, another Mariner legend, and he delivered a double, and he has to be happy here. He's the director of hitting strategy now. There's a trident as he lofts a meatball from Barwin all the way to right field, and the bullpen woes, which we thought went away in Game 6, have resurfaced again.
And that's why I wondered, as I almost butchered the call, I was thinking, like, why is Varland still out there? I did disagree with any of your points, but considering how worked he is, you cannot throw a fastball down the middle to Cal Raleigh. You're going to be asking for a new baseball.
Yeah, that was as a meatball. You cannot throw a meatball to Cal Raleigh because when you do that, he's going to make you big.
So Josh Naylor hits it hard, but he flies out toward right field. And Jorge Polanco was looking to do the same on a knuckle curve. Right now, Seattle, with Louis Varland at the bat rack with 1 out in the 5th, it's 3-1. They're looking to tee off.
They are. It's 3-1, and they're firing on all cylinders. This has to be the best that they're going right now in their franchise's history. The vibes are immaculate.
Yeah, you got 1 through 6. I mean, it's absolutely untouchable. Yes, we know about the Dodgers and some other teams in the National Leagues like the Phillies and things like that, but this lineup is deadly. I know Toronto deserves ultimate respect, and this game's not far from over by any means, but this is what Jerry DiPoto tried to put together and give them some space. That's a cannon shot right to Vlad, and he will win the race to the bag over Jorge Polanco, 2 outs.
83 and 48 when they have at least 1 home run this season are the Mariners. And of course, home runs are good for you. Even if the important part is to keep putting the ball on the ground and base run here in the postseason, the home runs are an added bonus and a very rewarding one. 2 solo shots, and it's from their 2 superstars, Julio and Cal.
I know Alec's going to see this graphic now that goes across. Cal Raleigh's on the same graphic with Mark McGwire, and a lot of those guys use steroids. Cal did not. He's got 65 tanks in total through the season.
That passes Aaron Judge's 64 from 3 years ago. As we know about Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, 2 swings and misses from Arozarena, but McGwire, Sosa, and all those baseball legends from the steroid era. So nonetheless, those are names to remember.
Absolutely, and now we are starting to see a development. We don't know if Kirby's day is done, but Brian Wu is starting to get warm, and he can absolutely be electric.
Yeah, we We saw him in Game 5 where he pitched 2 innings of work. And while it was a shaky outing at first, he did do enough to help the Mariners to preserve themselves into keeping them in the game, leading to that Cal Raleigh home run.
So all things quiet for the most part, but not so quiet. Cal Raleigh, that's obliterated into outer space. It's 3-1 as we go bottom 5.
A moonshot from Cal Raleigh towards the bullpen, hitting one out towards Mississauga. That was a big shot and one of the biggest moments in Mariners franchise history. The Queen Anne Beer Hall is on full go with the Mariners watch party.
Yeah, you'd have to believe so, Alec. Got to feel pretty good. A 2-run lead at this point in the game. I know it's only 2, but considering what the Mariners bullpen is, as we talked about, what could be brought out in this Game 7, you feel good. Varland, 1 bad pitch, but I will say, at least for Louis, his day's probably done now. You were right with the whole inning, about 4 outs. I don't think he goes out there anymore. I imagine we're going to have to see Kevin Gausman in the 6th.
We have to be sure of it because we know Gausman is the Blue Jays ace, but this is all hands on deck. And John Schneider wants to use his best arms out there. So sending Gausman for the 6th makes the most sense.
I'll be honest with you as I can, Alec. Just give me your honest assessment here. It's the bottom of the 5th inning. The Blue Jays are down 3-1. I'm going to designate this as a must score. I think they have to get at least 1 run, if not tie it. They got to do it right now.
Yes, they have to. In the 5th inning, or if Kirby gets a 6th inning, you have to get some runs off of him. Because if you don't do it now, you're tasked with the challenge of having to face off against one of the high leverage arms like Bizzardo, Spire, or Brash. No matter who Dan Wilson sets out there, he trusts his bullpen a lot.
Hey, shit, because they've been absolutely electric. Again, I know the Tigers don't have the same type of hitters that the Blue Jays do, but when the Mariners bullpen came in, again, there was some rough run scoring. It was 3-2 both of those games at T-Mobile, but the Mariners have been untouchable. We've seen them a lot throughout the year. This ESPN box officially has it listed as Brian Wu coming in this 5th. And if that's the case, as I imagine it would be, we'll just give it a final line. So Kirby's day looks like it's done at 4 innings. I don't think he was bad at all. It was just 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts and 65 pitches.
I guess the general consensus from what I'm getting the sentiment of is that Wilson does not want Kirby to get shelled in the 5th inning. But sending Brian Wu out there is the unknown X factor that we see. How will he perform coming back from injury? He was good enough in Game 5, but now he has to preserve this lead in Game 7 here in the 5th inning. And can he be the ace that he was? Big question.
Yeah, admittedly for me, as I said, I've seen a lot of Kirby. I've seen some Gilbert and Castillo, but for Wu, he's not a starter that I've seen a ton of, but I know of his numbers. I know he was an all-star this year. As 96, we come back from break. This one misses just down on a fastball, make it 1-0.
And so far, that was just downstairs. He looked off in game 5. Birdie starts, he went 15-7. He became Seattle's ace overnight this year.
2-0, another downstairs fastball on Andres Jimenez. This is someone you have to go right after. I know 261 in the series. That's about 80 points higher than his average usually is. So if you're Wu, you got to get this out. And again, as you mentioned with Toronto, you're going to have to score now. And the first 3 pitches right out of the gate for Wu, they're all balls.
Not a good start for him. He has to get back into form. And that last one almost hit Jimenez's elbow.
Yeah, not close in the last one. As Kirby, all you can do is look on. Again, and between Kirby and Bieber, they're pretty good today, but they didn't have long leashes. 3-0, and you got to wonder if this is going to be an obligatory take for Andres. It is, as this one's right down the middle. It's 3-1.
You wonder when that's going to come, and it runs right down the middle as you predicted. A fastball at 96.
It'll be George Springer next, as this one's in toward the hands, and Jimenez never had to take the bat off his shoulders.
But on the 3-1 count, yeah, he never offered at that one. It was closer towards his hands. No matter if it hit him or not, that he was going to reach anyway. He didn't have to take it off his hands at all. What a great halfback from Jimenez.
So I know it's interesting after what I just spent the last minute talking about with Alec that Seattle should feel good. Well, you don't want to lead off walk in the fifth now to George Springer because you missed your spot, and this could be absolutely gone in a tie game. But it's 0-1, fall back toward left field.
The dreaded leadoff walk, when you're trying to protect a lead, does not usually bode well for a team that's defending a lead.
0-1 is the count. Wu trying to throw strikes. He's in relief of Kirby. 97, swing and a miss, low and outside.
Springer loves to put the ball in play, as do the rest of the Blue Jays. This time he chased one that was just outside. I don't know if that one would have boded well, but it was reachable. I just don't know if this one was going to be fouled or not.
0-2. Swing and a miss on a sweeper. He got it with the off-speed.
The specialty off-speed pitches to try to catch guys off guard. Not Guerrero, Joe, and Lucas does reach up next. Then you have the tough decision to walk flag or not.
Yep, and you're absolutely right, Alec. This is where you got to get it done right now. If you can induce a double play or get a strikeout, you got to get Lucas here because you don't want Guerrero up with extra runners on. 97 and toward the hands. Lucas had to off-red, and it's 0-1.
Now, if you're Josh Snyder, do you call bunt for Lucas so as to move Jimenez to second base so as to get Guerrero at the plate?
You could do it because it'd be enough speed to where if he gets through with 2 outs, they'd score in a single. I don't hate it, Alec. As this is 97 up high, make it 1-1.
I mean, it's a valid suggestion. Not saying that it's wrong or anything, but anything's better if you won't have Guerrero coming up if you're Toronto.
Wu's trying to slam the door right here, so Guerrero would come up with the bases empty. It's a 1-1 count, 3-1 Seattle lead. Well, pitch number 11. Here's a double play ball. Step on the bag, toss over. He got it to Naylor. 2 outs.
Excellently executed double play as J.P. Crawford, one of the best defensive shortstops in the entire MLB, picks it up, runs to second, got all the way to get the throw in time for the 6-3 double play. Did it all himself there. What a double play from JP. And that's why Seattle is keeping him up for his defense. Wow.
Can we get the camera shot and frame that from Fox? That was a beauty because J.P. Crawford just won the hurdle competition as well.
Yeah, he did. Just like we're just watching the Olympics several years in advance.
That was pretty nasty there. Wu comes in and does the job. It was a little topsy-turvy there after that walk from Jimenez, but that's exactly what Seattle needed. Make sure that Guerrero leads off with the bases empty in the 6th. Looks like we're going to get another pitching change, Alec, according to ESPN. This seems a little bit early, but Sir Anthony Dominguez, my friend, in the 6th.
I mean, we were expecting Gosman considering that's the 6th inning, and he can go multiple innings. Dominguez at the 6th inning is a little early for what he normally goes, because we can normally expect him for the 8th inning. Sometimes in the 9th inning, if Hoffman's already used up as a team's closer. But this feels too early for Dominguez. Ideally, this is the spot for Gosman. I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but again, we're thinking Alec. Again, I'm going to keep saying Gosman until it's not going to happen. And if I'm wrong the whole way, so be it. It wouldn't be the first time. But would you trust your starter then to go 7 through 9 rather than your closer to go 8 and 9? I'd rather use my closer because that's a situation that they're used to.
Well, last year, when the Mets were down in Game 6 heavily, they used Edwin Diaz early in the 4th inning. And that decision did pay off somewhat. Even though the Mets didn't win that game, it's a decision that some teams that when they're down early with their season on the line, that sometimes they go to by using their high leverage arms, even closers early. But normally you want to get long relievers who usually are starters in this position, which is why we agreed on Gosman going here.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same thing of what you just brought up and alongside for Diaz. Again, you're able to do that with Andrew Miller a long time ago with the Cleveland, former Tiger, and then everybody knows Mariano Rivera. But other than that, I usually wouldn't throw my closers out here so early. So Alec's going to have some interesting call here in the sixth. It's still a 3-1 lead for Seattle as we're still in break. It's 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the M's, and 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Dirty Birds.
Oh, that nickname looks nice for Toronto because this is a year to remember. Whether or not they can sustain this contention window once it's reopened is up for debate. But no matter how the year ends for Toronto, what a magical year it is for them. Seranthony Dominguez traded twice in as many years. This time to the Blue Jays, he goes the first pitch ball to Gino Suarez. He originally was a Philly, then an Oriole, and now a Jay.
Yeah, and he's got a lightning fastball, if I remember correctly, Alec, in triple digits.
Suarez lifts one up to the left center field. It's shallow, and on the rundown is Lucas to chase down and catch it. 1 out.
And you'll get another camera shot of that pole vault over from the shortstop side for J.P. Crawford, and Jimenez frame that one and put it on a poster.
It's one of those moments where you're wondering, what sport are we watching? If you're a Mariners fan, hang this one in the Louvre. Get an order of a poster on this and get it onto your house. Wow. Here's the first pitch to JP. And that one went off of IKF. He still gets the out anyway, a little auspiciously, but still, he gets the job done. 3 pitches, 2 outs.
I would say good job for IKF nonetheless, Alec. Get down to a knee, block that ball with his glove, and then realize he's got enough time to barehand and throw it. Good play.
Oh, not the shabby there as it went in and out of his glove. And then as it rolls away from him, he doesn't have more than enough time to barehand it over to Vladdy. And here's Rivas. Takes it on the bottom line with a sinker. 0-1. Nice pitch from Seranthony.
Yeah, there's nothing you're going to be able to do with that if you're Leo Rivas.
Yeah, it just froze him and confused him whether to swing or not. And that was the perfect placement. 0-1. And that went close to his feet. 1-1.
That's what you would hope if you're Rivas and the rest of Seattle. You don't want to get Dominguez in a run because he could go multiple innings if he wants to. You want to get him a little wild if you can.
If Rivas reaches and Robles is on base, check swing, and that almost looked to be a strike. It looked to be at the top left corner. They call it a ball. 2-1.
That's a tough call there from Blue.
It is. Because Seranthony Dominguez, he thought he had the strike there, so it was at the top left corner. 2-1 pitch. Rivas on a broken bat, pops this one up and foul ground. Clement says he's got it. And on 7 pitches, Dominguez gets the 3 out. So no shortage of rest here for Seranthony Dominguez. He's doing the job.
Yeah, I apologize to you, Alec, because that was an extremely short top half of the 6th inning, 7 pitches, and that looked like a masterclass from Seranthony.
And that was, because we thought this was a spot for Gosman, but Seranthony Dominguez took what we said and just had us eat crow.
Yeah, he said, you want that starter role? I'll just finish it out whenever I want to, and that's what he's looking to do right now. Is it's still 3-1. Kind of wondering where Toronto's run scoring is going to come from because you noticed it throughout this series. You've been covering some of these games. Toronto really hasn't had any problems scoring runs, but this Game 7 has been tight.
Yeah, they had no problems in Game 6 when they had the home runs from Barger and Vladdy. But Barger, he's been a revelation. He started the year in AAA, was called up later on the year as one of their key young faces at third base and at the right field. And no matter where he's at, he's delivered. Vladdy, we know, he is their face of this franchise. And of course, the interesting topic, if Toronto does come back to win this, do we see Bo Bichette in the World Series?
Is he healthy, Alec?
Well, he is progressing. That's the last we've heard of him. But we have yet to see him taking practice with a major league team. But he is progressing. I don't know how healthy he's going to be, but if he is healthy enough, I'd say he's going to be at a DH role.
I would say so too, because I'm looking at the rest of the guys on the bench. You got Taylor Heineman, who's been a journeyman on the catcher's side. He's hitting 289 in 61 games, but he's 34. You talk about Walter Frito and Davis Schneider. I mean, depending on if Bo Bichette's at least 60% and can DH, you would think he's got to make the roster.
At least, it's a DH. So do you put Springer over at the outfield to get Bichette in as if Bichette is healthy enough to get on the active roster?
I think you have to, even if Springer moves a little bit slow. I think you could at least, because you got Varsho or Lucas or Addison Barger, you could at least use one of those spots. That would be maybe a sacrificial one. You know, you always have one outfielder that isn't particularly good on defense, but I think you need the extra offense, so it's the right call.
It is. So you put Springer over the outfield
Yeah.
to get Bichette in at DH, and that's pretty much the only position that he can play right now if he does get back in time for the World Series. No changes on the infield. That's what we assume at the very least. The OPSs of Cal Raleigh and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vladdy is having an OPS of 1.507 this postseason. He's at the plate right now, but those are video game numbers coming from him. The first pitch is downstairs, but how about this man?
Yeah, and again, you talk about that large contract extension from Canada, wants to stay with the hometown team. That's what you love to see. Toronto couldn't afford to let him go elsewhere, and he's playing his best baseball at the right time.
He takes strike one on the top left corner with the fastball. His father used to be one of the key faces of the Montreal Expos, now Washington Nationals.
Yeah, one of my favorite players of all time. He could take a ball from his shoe top strings and hit it out for home runs.
Oh, a big swing and a miss. He wanted to go golfing there to scoop this one up and get a hole in one. Another of those moments of what sport are we watching? Tyrell, when you talk of hole in one, home run, you want to make some fun with some of the terms. 1-2, the count. Brian Wu getting set to throw pitch number 15. Del Vladdy on the way. It is outside on a sweeper, not particularly close. 2-2.
Yeah, and as you said, between J.P. Crawford, we saw little hurdles and pole vault as well. It's been a well-played game so far in the sixth.
6 home runs for Vlad Guerrero Jr. Only 2 strikeouts for him in his postseason.
Wow.
And he'll stay alive here on the foul ball with the sinker. This is a seem real. 6 home runs to 2 strikeouts. An incredible ratio. Postseason of legends are going to put you in elite company, and we'll see him for sure in the Blue Jays level of excellence. The 2-2. Fouled again. This time another sinker from Wu.
Yeah, you're going from the high sinkers of Kirby now to the low sinkers of Wu, but these are right on the inside black. And Guerrero's doing a great job following them off.
Staying alive at the plate. He wants to light the lamp here to put the Blue Jays within 1. Wu on a 2-2 count delivers the pitch, and he fouls again, this time to right field. Though this at-bat continuing for Vladdy.
Yeah, and they're attacking him with all fastballs right now.
Sinkers, fastballs, you name it. Another 2-2 awaits on Wu's 19th pitch. And what do you know? Another foul ball once again from right to left.
Yeah, this looks like the reverse Tommy Canley, but now it's all fastballs, and that's what they're going to go after with Vlad.
Almost those sinkers and fastballs this time about 4-seamers up against the 2-seamers. 2-2, Mariners lead 3-1. Another 2-2. And just for the third time, he strikes out.
Alec, I was wondering as we were talking about that sequencing, when was the wrinkle going to come? The sweeper, and Vladdy goes after it. I mean, he was fighting so hard with those fastballs and sinkers, but he tried to golf at it. It didn't work.
Once again, what sport are we watching, John?
It's been a fun game so far. I've enjoyed it with you.
Oh, man. It's been amazing, this game. Wu's first pitch to Captain Kirk is... Did he reach on that one?
They're gonna say pull back.
They just pulled back, and it was on the right line on a 1-0 count now as Wu getting set to deliver. We wonder who is next after him. Kirk Fowles went up on a line to right. He went back with the sinker that time, the trademark pitch.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you're the Blue Jays, all you've seen between these two for the most part is fastballs and sinkers. And again, if you can just sit on one of those, if you're Toronto, you got enough time to get back in this ball game, but you got to find the front of the bat head and get in front of these 97s.
Those are the pitches that the Blue Jays have had the hardest time against. The 97 plus mile an hour fastballs and sinkers up against Kirby and Wu. Not even close that time. Wu switched up to the sweeper. It's 2-1. Well, as we did speak out earlier, I did want to mention about the Rangers bringing their goalless drought at home. They scored just several seconds in, but they only had that one goal. They lost 3-1. 2-1 count. And Kirk lines one up the center. Julio cannot guide for it. It's a base hit for Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he was strong enough, was Alejandro, to fight it off. A cannon corner to center field, and even for as fast as Julio Rodriguez is, doesn't have enough of those steps to be able to make that catch. And one more time, he's on base.
Here he delivers here on with 1 out. Now we go to Dalton Varsho at Seattle. The best case they can go is a double play. They end the previous inning on a double play with J.P. Crawford's hurdle right over the second base runner. And now we have Varsho on the plate right now. We have another Malby. Yes, it is a Malby. I think it's the pitching coach, Pete Woodward, who's out there.
And again, I just want to make a note, as I said it earlier from the first when Varsho scored, that he might be the weaker part of the order because he's hitting 238. Keep in mind, he's got 20 home runs this year. So Wu can't necessarily lay in a fastball. He's going to have to attack with that sinker. And as Alec mentioned after that meeting, Gabe Spire now starting to get warm for Dan Wilson's squad.
Going with the high leverage relievers. That's what Wilson wants right after Wu's outing. So no matter what happens here between Varsho and Wu, this will be the last inning Wu pitches here. Here's the first pitch to Varsho, and he just avoided that one. That was going towards his knees. 1-0.
And he got that one on the back foot, a little bit inside. That got spiked. Good block by Raleigh.
And batters these days, they are encouraged to make attempts to avoid pitches that are headed towards them, to move their body parts. Varsho flies one up to right, in the line of sight. Roadway shines the warning tracks. Kirk retreats back to first, 2 out.
I want to take a look at this from the camera shot. Admittedly, Varsho looks like he just missed hitting a home run. He got that on the label of the bat. That was a good swing, but it was right at the outfield.
Not a bad idea for Varsho to go after that, but it was just not deep enough. It was headed towards the direction of the Mariners' bullpen. And now here's Ernie Clement. And whenever you see Clement over at the plate, there's a curious decision that Seattle can make. First pitch to him is a ball downstairs, but the curious decision is now, with the way that he's hitting this postseason, do you walk him or do you pitch to him?
The way that Seattle's arms are, you have to think you go after him, Alec.
You keep attacking him with sinkers, what Brian Wu is doing. This one is grounded over to JP. He'll toss to Rivas for the out there to end this inning. So when we come back, it'll be the 7th inning, and we'd imagine Dominguez has earned himself another inning with the way he pitched the 6th.
Yeah, he was remarkable. And again, if I have to think about the way that I'm going to entitle my story, right now I might just put death by sinker.
That's how this game is. Death by sinker for Toronto if they don't come back to take this game 7. Biggest game of the Mariners franchise. 1 win, and they advance. Fun fact, the home team, despite being 30-29 in winner-take-all game 7s, they have lost 7 of the last 8 game 7s, including the 2 that we covered 2 years ago.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Alec, because when I saw that after you were covering the game last night, I was shocked. I didn't even realize that that was an actual stat.
I mean, it's amazing, really, that we are seeing all these stats, and we're expecting this crowd to give the Blue Jays a boost.
Yes.
But so far, it's been all Mariners, especially the pitching staff. George Kirby, excellent. Brian Wu, excellent. The bullpen, we've yet to see from them. But we'd imagine Gay Spire would have an excellent outing.
And let me say this openly. After the series and between the Tigers, again, you and Ian Genji joined me. And I made the note of after I win the full five, you would think that Toronto is going to have the advantage and win the first two games of the series. It didn't work out that way. Seattle won the first two. And then Toronto responded. And now we finally got ourselves to a game seven. It's not like I was counting out Seattle. I was just thinking their bullpen was so taxed, they might just run out of gas. But yet, right now, it looks like the Toronto offense, who has been so good throughout this entire year, just doesn't have any answers in this game so far.
And the fact that Seattle won the first two games of the series coming off that classic 15-inning bout against Detroit is their testament to their resiliency. And it was impressive in and of itself that they won the first two games. If they lost the first game, we wouldn't blame them because it could be an attribute of being rusty after that 15-inning outing. There's no problem losing the first game, but that you won the first game is, I'd say that's even more impressive than squeaking out that 15-inning outing.
Yeah, it is. And again, no matter what, I know only one team can win in advance and go to the World Series, but really more than any other year, it's two teams that have no shame, regardless of whether they win or lose. Probably nobody expected the Mariners or the Blue Jays to be in this spot, and yet there's only three more outs or three more innings left to go before we get the World Series decided.
And we thought that the AL West would be either the Astros or the Rangers.
Yes.
The Mariners, of all teams to go in the AL West, we never thought the Mariners would make it after what happened last year. Take it away, John. We have Kevin Gausman at the mound.
Well, I'm hoping at some point in the ninth, if the Mariners have the lead, that we do see Cooper's face and throw in congratulations. But it's a little while before we get there. And you're right, Kevin Gausman now up against Victor Robles. I imagine Victor Robles is just happy to see anybody else. And I agree with you. In the previous half, Sir Anthony Dominguez's day is already done, and that seems like a waste.
Yeah, 7 pitches, and you get the feeling that he's earned himself another inning. Though John Schneider, I don't know what the decision is. I feel he's saving him up for the World Series, but the World Series.
You got to get there first.
Friday.
Yeah, you got to get there first.
You have to, as Gausman pitched a second pitch ball. You have to get the World Series first. You can't wait someone away after 7 pitches.
2-1, 95 will split the plate against Kevin Gausman. Now, I've seen Gausman a long time alongside with the Baltimore Orioles. Always loved his stuff. Could top out about 98, 99. Now more toward 95, but he's got a devastating splitter as well. It's 2-2 against Victor Robles. 83. That one hit very hard, but very foul. It had the distance.
And for Gausman, it's his first relief appearance since Game 5 of the NLDS when he was a member of the San Francisco Giants under Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, that's another one of those teams. I forgot about that. Good mention of that, Alec. Again, as we press on here, it's 3-1 Seattle trying to go to the World Series. Robles in on the hands, gets a piece of the splitter. And this looks like a much more comfortable at-bat for Robles. Could still strike out, but at least he's managing to fight off some pitches.
He's getting his confidence. With the Robles that Mariners fans wanted when they got him from Washington.
85. Kirk tried to apply the tag, but the umpires say he didn't go. It's a full count.
But that was close. He retracted right on time. I didn't see him go the full way from the view of the pitcher camera.
So this is the one time, Alec and I mentioned this earlier, that with John Schneider, I'd be a little curious. 94, perfect at bat for Robles. It's a leadoff walk to begin the 7th.
An excellent at bat for Victor Robles and Kevin Gausman on the mound, and it feels like the opposite of what we were expecting. We expected for what the Dominguez did at the 6th inning to be more of what Gausman would do, not the opposite.
No, and a key in this series is Julio Rodriguez and Raleigh. When they're on, Seattle wins. When they're not, they lose. And in this game right now, they're on. as Julio Rodriguez and Kel both have solo shots. It's a 3-1 lead, and they're trying to hold on to it the rest of the way and piecemeal with this bullpen. You know, you got Spire coming up, you got Andres Munoz in the back end, maybe Bizardo as well. This one should be a tailor-made double play. Julio Rodriguez runs well, but they do get him by half a step, and Gausman gets 2 outs for the price of 1.
So nice job for Kevin Gausman on this double play. The 6-4-3, they get it quickly from the shortstop. IKF gets out roadways just in time before he reaches. And Julio Rodriguez was an excellent base runner. Just beat out by several inches. But nonetheless, never a bad idea to put one on the ground because you never know what to expect. Rodriguez does roll well, and I respect the effort for speeding things up.
I didn't see this coming either. So John Schneider is using all the wheels. Chris Bassett now starting to warm as they've intentionally walked Cal.
I like that from Toronto. You don't want to face Cal Raleigh this time around, but the question mark here is Josh Naylor because he's having himself a postseason of his life up against Toronto. You walk him to face Naylor, and I'm not sure about that decision if he does reach, but given that Cal Raleigh is homered as it's a first pitch ball, I kind of like this.
Yeah, and again, I won't argue with that. I'm just wondering on the Chris Bassett side that maybe Gausman only goes 1 inning. You would think you would use long relief. And again, I go back from the previous series. I saw Jack Flaherty for multiple innings and alongside Ray J. Hinch. I would imagine Gausman's going to give you at least 2, but we'll see. It's 3-1. It's a 2-0 against Naylor, and this one is also spiked in the dirt. And it doesn't look like Gausman even wants to go after Josh.
This is the feeling that Gausman, he's not really testing Josh Naylor. Yeah, he's not throwing towards the zone.
3-0. We'll see if you get another obligatory take. If you're Naylor, probably don't swing. 4 pitches. You could have put up the 4 fingers. They didn't. Now he threw 4 balls. It's back-to-back walks.
Now you face Jorge Polanco, and Josh Naylor gets on base, and Gausman's having a shaky 7th inning outside of that double play. This is not usual from the H, but they're getting the pitching coach Pete Walker out there onto the mound for the visit.
So we'll see right now as they're looking at some of that. Right now, Gausman's just 2/3 and 3 walks. Again, one of them intentionally, but the last one was too. It was 4 pitches, not even anything to think about. And every time they show all of the Mariners' big hits, I know it was against the Tigers throughout this series, but you got to give them credit. And then the LCS game 2, game-winning 3-run shot in the mix. So Jorge Polanco's had himself pretty good run so far. Always liked him from the Minnesota Twins. You know how dangerous he can be, especially when you stretch out this lineup. I just wish the Tigers had Gino at one point, but he went to Seattle, and he's done well. I know he hasn't had the greatest regular season, but he's starting to do well in the ALCS, and that's what matters. So after 2 walks, 1 intentionally, 1 not, but should have been, it's 2 outs. And now it is Gausman against Polanco, and he's missed again on a splitter.
Yeah, the command looks off for Gausman. He's not really at his best coming out of the bullpen.
1-0. Again, Seattle threatening. They've been able to threaten a lot, Alec, with some of these runners. 85 gets the call. Probably shouldn't have. It's 1-1.
Very friendly call. That wasn't even close to the zone, John. That was about 2 feet downstairs.
Yeah, for as much as he's missed, I absolutely agree with you. Should not have gotten that. Again, another splitter, nothing to think about. Should be 3-0, but it's 2-1.
It should be a 3-0 count, but nonetheless, it pitches to the same location. So Gausman's getting himself a very short leash.
What do you do here? It's 2-1, 85, another splitter. That's what I was wondering if you would go back to. This one induces a swing and miss. It's 2-2. It's 2 outs, but Randy Arozarena's next, and Gausman's got to get this out.
He has to. And if Polanco does reach, we question the logic of putting him on the mound when he could have just kept Dominguez out there.
2-2. We'll see what we get. Gausman now. Get the sign from Kirk. He takes a long look at second base. Now delivers. Here's a shot. Ground ball right to second. Toss over Guerrero. No problem. Gosman, that was a tightrope of fire, but he gets out of it. It's still 3-1.
That was about as much of a heart attack as it was for Toronto in that outing for Gosman as it was. But he did finish it up. So next we have Bassett for Toronto pitching out the bullpen, and we don't normally see starters pitch out the bullpen, but it's back-to-back ties in which John Schneider has trusted his starters out of the bullpen here in the later innings.
I want to make a quick clarification just in case anyone thinks I'm saying something I shouldn't. I'm not going to go ahead and put any blame on John Schneider because, again, your team has to score runs if you want to win the ball game. If the final's 3-1, it doesn't matter what pitchers go out there if you're not scoring runs. But it's just curious. It feels like he's working backwards today.
We ideally want to see Gosman in the sixth and then Dominguez in the eighth if Gosman does go to multiple innings. That's what the logical reasoning would be. But here, with the all hands on deck approach, this feels like John Schneider's doing what we thought in reverse.
So right now, I'm going to lose the game alongside with the spread, so I'll have 4 losses as the Lions look like they're going to hold on to a 24-9 victory. That gives Tampa just their second loss. But the Seahawks, they're in business right now. They're first and goal with the football, and they've already scored. And I think Houston just coughed it up. It's 7-0 Sea Chickens.
Zach Charbonnet from 1 yard out with the first touchdown of the game. Seattle's rolling well, and even though the Kraken lost to the Flyers earlier, everyone in Seattle was focused on the Mariners. But so even if the Kraken lost, Seattle fans they exchange a Kraken loss for a Mariners win tonight if they hold on.
And I would say even with a 3-1-2 start, it's probably better than any of us expected the Kraken to do so far this year, correct?
Yeah, this was a surprisingly good start for the Kraken, and congratulations to Berkeley Cat for his first career NHL point.
Yeah, and again, he's going to be a guy that's going to be a big-time player in the future. Here's another giant hockey game. I talked about referencing the Avalanche and the Hurricanes on Thursday. Well, it's VGK against the Canes. Right now, Vegas has the first goal, just the halfway mark of the first. We'll tell you what that one is in a second. Jack Eichel again? Are you serious? He has 6.
And now that makes it 16 points for Jack Eichel.
Oh, man.
He's on a heater to the end of the year. And if I'm being honest, I have him as my Hart Trophy winner this year.
I have no argument, good sir, for Jack Eichel. I'm just happy to see him living his best life in Vegas, winning a title and being healthy. Because he's a stud, and any other draft that wasn't with McDavid in it, he would have been the first overall.
So it's still Woo out there for another inning, John.
Wow, that is another surprise here. But then you got Gabe Spire and Munoz maybe at 8-9. But this is, how many times am I going to say it? Must-score territory for Toronto. But it is death by fastball and sinker. And now we got Edward Bizardo, so it doesn't matter to me who's warming up. You still got all hands on deck if you're Dan Wilson. If Luke gets another 3 outs here and the score remains the same, they're going to be in excellent shape.
If Luke gets another out here and then you get the high leverage arms in, Seattle's in control this game.
I have to think so. That's exactly where I am too, Alec. Toronto's starting to run out of time. They got 9 outs left in their season. Again, no shame, win or loss either side, but they have been shut down by the elite arms. 96 just low on a fastball. It's kind of how it started in the 6th for Woo. It's 3-1.
Fastball and sinker has been the way of this game for Seattle, and they stuck by it. That's been the game plan. You try to make something up.
Not close. Inside, Edison Barger draws the walk.
The game after he hit a home run in Game 6 draws a leadoff walk, and that's never a good sign when you're protecting a lead this late in this game. You don't want to have that happen. Then that could be a sign of what could become if Brian Woo's 7th inning doesn't go the way it goes, and you have than IKF up at the plate.
Yeah, we said that in the 6th before the J.P. Crawford pole vault. Cal Raleigh thought about throwing it to second. Barger did not go. It's 0-1 on a fastball strike.
Yeah, he thought about it, and Barger decided not to steal the base. He goes back to first, knowing that Cal Raleigh, he's one of the best defensive catchers in the league this year.
IKF's got really good bat-to-ball skills. Toronto needs it here. Inside fights off a sinker and make it 0-2.
He had to, because that one was in the zone or just outside of it. He's tried it, but he had to fight that one off. And the more that he fights off these balls, the more confident he gets.
We'll see how long the leash is for Wu. It's 0-2 against IKF. Here is a shot right up the middle. Station to station goes Toronto. The first two have reached in the 7th.
Yeah, and that's past J.P. Crawford had no chance at a play as Julio Rodriguez picked it up. No chance for Crawford to pick this one up. Now we've got a decision. Do you pull Wu to get Spire or Bazardo at the mound?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know if Dan Wilson would do it, but if I was Dan Alec, I'm doing it now.
You have to. At this point, there's no other option because you give him the leadoff walk and then a single to IKF. But Andres Jimenez up at the plate, and yes, or rather not, it's Pete Woodworth who's coming out for a mound visit to Wu. But honestly, I really should pull him after that at-bat.
Yeah, I don't think Wu has done particularly bad. I don't think any of the starters, as we mentioned, everybody's done well. But Wu's thrown 36 pitches already. I think he's done a fine enough job. But if they trust him to go back out there, that's a decision because it's not like it's Max Scherzer with the Tigers here.
It's not, because you have a collection of strong rotation
Yes.
arms you can use. It's not like you can have to trust one guy to go out for 6+ innings because that's a very different scenario. You don't have a screwball on your team, but all your rotation arms can get the job done.
This is a stat I didn't want to see if you're a Seattle fan. Most comeback wins this year. Blue Jays top of the list with 49. They're down by 2. Here's a bunch shown by Jimenez, but he has to hop out of the way. 1-0.
Whoa. That was very auspicious, right onto his knee, because a hit to him would get him on base.
They're in the same situation several innings ago from the 3rd for J.P. Crawford now in the 7th. They could sacrifice 2nd and 3rd. Jimenez looking to do just that. This goes to Wu. His only play is the 1st. Both runners move up 90 feet.
Yeah, Jimenez does the job out to sacrifice himself to move the bases. So this takes out the double play for the equation. And now that the bases are moved, I still wonder if you pull Wu so as to get Spire or Bazardo at the plate, it doesn't look that way anymore. And here's Springer. But now here comes Dan Wilson. He is indeed going to pull Wu.
Got to do it here, and it looks like on the ESPN box. I never watched on Fox, but I'm just giving you the information as it comes. Eduard Bazardo coming in to face Springer.
Yeah, you have to do that. If you want to pull Wu so as to get the leverage up. Edward Bazardo can do it. But now you don't have the benefit of a double play anymore.
No, you don't. And it's the biggest leverage of the ball game here as we go to break. Runners in 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Jimenez does his job after IKF and Barger reach respectively. Now, this is the biggest moment in Seattle's season. If they could strand the runners at least where only one of them score or keep the scoreline where it is, they're still in great shape. However, if this game is tied or Toronto takes the lead after the 7th, I think Seattle might be in trouble.
Because you mentioned Toronto's ability to come back. They have 49 comeback wins on the year. 3rd place in that list, though, is Seattle with 43.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. From what we see, you can't fight through the facts. I just kind of wonder how much magic do you have, especially let's say you're at home, you fight your way off the ropes, you come back, take the lead. Do you really have enough energy back as the home team to then get the crowd out of it and fight back again. You should have the advantage at home, but as Alec also mentioned, 7 of the last 8 times we got an elimination game, the home team has lost.
And it feels bizarre to see that in a game 7. And that list includes the Astros and Phillies that we covered 2 years ago in the ALCS and NOCS. But this one's more close, if anything. And we're glad that we have a close game here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of tension here. And I'm hopeful again after about another half hour that we can get the right result for Mr. Hopkins. Hey, I'm not going to go too far ahead of myself because if you ask me today, Alec, if anyone's going to beat the Dodgers, I will say no. But at least you want to see one of these teams get there. I just don't think he can beat Shohei Ohtani when he throws 6 scoreless and hits 3 tanks.
It's clear to say the Dodgers have the best rotation in the entire MLB between Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, and Ohtani. The Blue Jays 17 wins when trailing after 6 innings. Just as we know about most comeback wins in the MLB, that's the most in the MLB, trailing after 6 innings.
Make sure you remember to breathe because this could be a whole different ball game here. And I won't spoil what I think I'm seeing on the screen. We're going to do this live. It's George Springer against Bizzardo. One swing can change things. Runners in second and third. Springer! The ball is killed! This game is brand new! It's 4-3!
Oh my goodness, after the leadoff walk was given up and then a single there, George Springer, right after he was hit in game 5, one bad knee. He comes up clutch again, just like he did many times with the Houston Astros. He wants to lift the Blue Jays over to the World Series for the first time in 32 years. He is pumped.
Unbelievable turn of events. You went to the backwards side for the Blue Jays. Varland, Dominguez, Gosman, the one man put on the jacket. He's done so much pain, I imagine, to the Mariners alongside as a member of the Astros, and he does it again as a member of the Blue Jays. I am speechless.
He gets the perfect pitch thrown his way, and he lifts this one over to deep left. Amazing.
Sometimes there's not much left to be said, and the crowd is serenading George Springer here. The Toronto Blue Jays, they have the biggest hit of this ball game, and Alec just mentioned this as we went to break. If Toronto got ahead off of a big swing, could then Seattle pull themselves off the mat in efforts to try to tie this? It is the 7th. There's just 1 out, but that feels like a killer of a 3-run shot.
It was a no-doubt shot towards the first row seats. A dinger out the park, as several fans are amazingly outstanding. A 3-run shot from Springer and one of the greatest moments possibly in Blue Jays franchise history. Should they hold 3 runs to pick up the lead as we continue onwards. Now this crowd has found new life.
Oh, utter elation on one end, utter devastation on the other. What the pain is to be a Seattle fan. I'm sorry, Cooper, for that one, but I had to call it the right way. 0-1 up top. It's a sinker. 1-1.
As this crowd energized after that, Nathan Lucas having himself a nice start to this at-bat. Fouling one off, and then that.
The sinker, 1-2, as he's fighting his way through it. Again, Lucas, he's had good numbers, as Alec mentioned. This entire Blue Jays team, whatever it is, they find a way to get the job done. And John Schneider has reverse managed his bullpen here, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Now, Lucas ropes one to right field. Robles plays on a hop, and Bizzardo is getting worked.
The bullpen, which has been a strength for the Mariners, they're getting shelled here early with Bizzardo right after Wu. And it wasn't much that Brian Wu could do, but that home run might just suck the life out of Bizzardo.
And here's the other thing. I don't want to play the blame game because Dan Wilson has operated as you normally do. Now, most managers nowadays, Alec, they'll use their closer arms, as you talked about, as Guerrero hits it hard. This one played off by Arozarena, makes the catch. But most managers will use their best arms no matter what inning. Dan Wilson will save Munoz for the ninth. Now, you could argue, if you wanted to, that Dan Wilson could have used Munoz in that seventh.
And you could go either which way, but all these arms are high leverage arms for
Yes.
Seattle. So no matter which way you put it, you're still getting one of your best relievers on the mound between Bazardo, Spire, Munoz, or Brash.
Yeah, no argument from me. We're throwing it out there. Again, it's easy to play the blame game in hindsight after it happened. We're just telling you as it is. Alejandro Kirk swings and misses on a breaking ball, but George Springer has done the damage. The Blue Jays now have the lead 4-3 after a walk and a base hit. And now we're starting to see Bassett start to get warm again for Schneider's squad. Kirk still has one more strike to work with.
And insisting on Bassett warming up, it's a curious decision because he can be trusted for longer innings.
And I said this earlier, I don't think you're going to see Jeff Hoffman in the ninth. If he throws 40 pitches last time, throws again, I can't imagine he's got anything left in the tank. But you got to get yourself across the finish line, however that happens. And that's what Seattle's going to have to do in the eighth because Toronto's in the driver's seat now. It's 4-3 lead. It's a 1-2 count against Kirk from Bazardo. 84. That was not strike three. That was a little bit low and outside. 2-2.
Yeah, outside that time, it's Springer, who's the clutchest hitter on this team for Toronto. His ninth go-ahead home run in his postseason career, which is tied for third all time.
And what's it like to be that good? Strike three up top the zone, but it doesn't matter. George Springer sent this crowd into frenzy. We'll go to the eighth. It's 4-3 Jays.
Oh, man, the very guy that Seattle does not want to see. It feels like that they're facing him, and he's back in Houston again.
Yeah, and again, I called it the right way. I felt like I had to, but now I have this pit in the bottom of my stomach that I'm feeling alongside our broadcast partner and friend Alec. But you take it away in the eighth. We'll see when we get in the ninth. I think the Mariners have a chance, but again, now they only got 6 outs to play with. But now when you're doing the backwards managing for Schneider, Chris Bassett, do you trust him to get 6 outs? Who knows the way that works? He could be hit up.
It's a mystery box.
Yeah. That's really all it is. It's just like Family Guy. It could be anything. It could be even a mystery box.
Yeah, it could be anything. Even a mystery box itself. Or it could even be an outing where he could have the outing of his lifetime, Chris Bassett. But we don't know what to expect from him, given the unexpected nature of the bullpen for Toronto, and considering that this will be his first game back from injury that he's pitched.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it's going to be even more leverage to throw in this fire. Either way, this has been a fantastic ball game, and it's going to be a shame to see one of these teams lose. But we still got more of those leverage arms for the Mariners. We'll see what's left for the Blue Jays. Alec will take us here through this eighth. This has been a phenomenal game. I'm just glad you're able to join me for it.
Anytime, John. It's been a fun one to watch this Game 7. What a classic.
Let's give you another update as far as what we got on the football scoreboard. Seattle with the ball again. They were already up 14-0, but they would trade all of that for an M's win right now. And then we look at the Golden Knights and Canes. Looks like VGK scored one more time at T-Mobile. It's Pavel Dorofeev. So Eichel and Dorofeev, the guys that they expect to score, have scored. But the curious part that I see as far as the screen, and I'm not sure who the starter is right now, but Aiden Hill, 4 of 4, and Akira Schmid, 2 of 2. So it looks like there was an injury to one of the VGK goaltenders.
Yeah, it looks like that Aiden Hill has been hurt. and Akira Schmidt is in net, so this is some extended looks for Schmidt to fill in the injury relief. But Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel, they look like a match made in heaven in Vegas.
Yeah, we really didn't have any thoughts that it was going to go wrong for Vegas, and alongside their brass, they knew what they wanted to do, got the job done. You take it away.
8th inning as Chris Bassett in on the ground to Andres Jimenez. He puts away Arozarena on the very first pitch that Bassett threw.
And again, Bassett's another one of those guys that Seattle has seen a lot from the AL West and Oakland, so they try to jump on the first pitch, and Arozarena grounded out.
Bassett did give the Yankees fits this year. He wasn't on the ALCS roster because of the injury, but now he's getting a chance to shine here in the 8th inning. Top of the 8th up against Dino Suarez. First pitch strike on a sinker.
He's not going to get that pitch again. That was right down the middle.
Yeah. If he does that again and goes right down the middle, I promise you he's going to kill that. This time he goes top right, called a ball. It looked like a strike.
Foolhardy now starting to warm, but unbelievably, so is Jeff Hoffman.
Unbelievable. If Hoffman were to get the go, he's only going for the 9th. Though ideally, because he's used up, Mason Fluharty would get the gig here. Way outside on the sinker, 2-1.
Last time Suarez was up, he swung miserably on some off-speed pitches. He's got 2-1 count leverage. You got to lock in here.
You have to if you want to tie this game up with one swing. Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh had the home runs as you expect. And now it's Dino Suarez's turn to deliver. The 2-1. And he wins. It is 2-2. He wanted to go after it, but didn't even come close to it.
Yeah, sinker was right there. He got handcuffed.
He did. It was a sinker. He thought it was going to be a fastball towards the top left corner. Nope, it was towards the left center side. And he had to get out of the way that time. It was well upstairs on the cutter at 91, full count. JP Crawford's on deck as is 1 out here. Crawford 1 for 2, waiting on the payoff for Dino Suarez, who started the year on the Diamondbacks. The payoff on the ground foul to left. Still waiting on another payoff, but Bassett in relief this time. The longtime Oakland A, as the team now in Sacramento, but digress. But Bassett's been a quality pitcher no matter where he's at.
Yeah.
Oakland, Toronto, he's been pitching well out of the free spot throughout the majority of the season. Was injured before the year, and now in one of the biggest relief innings of his career. Payoff. He got it on the curveball, and Gino is upset. Barkey had Quinn Wolcott 2 away, and this looks like shades of Xander Bogaerts against the Cubs.
Oh, boy, that was absolutely dotted, too close to take. I understand why Gino's mad, but he went right into the umpire's face and was barking at him.
Oh, my goodness. Next year, that's a helmet tap, as JP takes ball 1, but the point we're trying to make that next year, Gino's going to tap his helmet.
That's such a nasty pitch from Chris Bassett. What an equalizer.
Oh, man, a beautiful pitch from here. And JP grounds 1 to Jimenez. That ends the top of the 8th. And Rogers Center has life. After the Springer home run, Bassett delivers an immaculate 8th inning.
Yeah, you said it, Alec. Man, this feels like we just rode a roller coaster, does it not? I went through a whirlwind of emotions in this game so far.
Oh, man. This has been a fun one to watch. No matter which perspective you put it, if you're a fan of one of these teams, if you're a neutral fan, this is a classic Game 7 to remember. And if the Blue Jays can hold on for 3 more outs at the top of the 9th inning, if they can expand on this lead, it will make the job even easier for either Hoffman or Fluharty.
So here's the thing for me. Depending on what the Blue Jays score, the bottom of the Mariners order, you got J.P. Crawford at 7, which is fine. He's got a hit today. But you got Leo Rivas and Victor Robles. If you're Dan Wilson and you're going to go to Dom Canzone or anyone else, Now is going to be the time to have to do that when you get to the ninth, because somebody in that bottom of the order, 789, is going to have to come through to extend it.
Yeah, you have to get a pinch hitter here. Anyone here can so. Or if you're thinking about the DH, if you're not really thinking about DH, you keep Polanco over there. Canzone could be the likely candidate for opener pinch hitting. But if you're thinking about someone, if you still have several options here for Seattle, if you want to get a pinch hitter up, they mentioned Canzone. Mitch Garver's available. Miles Master Bodie is available. Harry Ford is available.
And Harry Ford is the prospect for the Mariners at the catching side that they think that they're going to like for a long time. He is available. I don't think he'll see the light of day, but I do think Garver and Canzone would be a good possibility. I'm not saying anything against Rivas and Robles, but from what we've seen today, I just don't think that that's the answer.
Yeah, I don't think so either. You gotta go where you're most comfortable with.
So we'll see. This is going to be a critical 3 outs that the M's have to get here on the pitching side. And it looks like Andres Munoz here, Alec, is going to lead things off in the bottom of the 8th when we come back.
Once again, John, all hands on deck. You want to get your best arms where you can. And because of the 8th inning, you have Munoz out for getting the crucial outs. And you want to trust your main guys to get the hits where you can get them. Because at the bottom of the order, it's going to be Rivas, Robles, and Julio Rodriguez. And it's just the first 3, no matter what happens.
Yeah, and I'm just shocked in the terms of Anthony Dominguez right after Louis Varland only throwing 7 pitches, and now they're right there. And they're showing the misery that is the Mariners graphic. If you're a fan, look away.
And this is the furthest they've got this year. This is the furthest they've got in their franchise history. They're the only team to not have a World Series appearance compared to teams that have never been to the Super Bowl, which is this line drive to right by Barshow for a base hit. And the shot parade continues.
Yeah, that's another fastball that's right down the middle, Alec. I mean, that's exactly where it's supposed to go, either out of the ballpark or in right field. Munoz essentially has been untouchable throughout the postseason. That was the first hit he's given up in 6 games.
Yeah, he had a 0.00 ERA up until this hit. And Jimenez shows, or rather Clement, excuse me, but Clement did his best Andres Jimenez impression and showed bunt.
Yeah, no mistake of what Toronto's trying to do. They're trying to get 1 extra run here to give themselves some leverage.
Because a 1-run lead is not going to cut it up against a team with the likes of Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh. That's not comfortable enough. Clement shows bunt again, and he's safe 1-1.
Yeah, able to pull back just in time. And as we mentioned from the top 9 preview, it's going to be 7-8-9 for Seattle. So someone will have to come through in the bottom of the order. But Toronto gets another run here, make it 5-3. Could be a world of difference.
They pulled the third baseman Suarez in for their defense. Clement make the bunt, take strike 2 down the middle on the fastball. There's Senor Smoke.
Yeah, it's not what you want to see if you're any Clement. You got a meatball right there. He didn't swing at it. He had the bunt sign and took it off.
Absent Barger on deck no matter what. Whether it be double play or strikeout or put away. 1-2. Clement on the ground. And this gets past Rivas. On to Robles. And Barger's trying for third. The throw is way too late. Runners at the corners.
Look, if you're Andres Munoz right now, you can't think about anything else other than throwing what Cal Raleigh puts down. It's another infield hit. That's been common throughout this game. But you've got to absolutely lock down. You cannot allow any runs to score here if you're Seattle.
You cannot. That's why you want to bring the defense in so as to adjust. So if I'm the defensive coach for the Mariners, you get Suarez forward. Don't think about the pickoffs here. Bring the defense forward so as you want to try to get the out at home plate.
See if we get some sliders, sinkers. What do we got, Alec?
On the first pitch to Barger is downstairs, just barely on the slider. You mentioned a slider. We got a slider.
Yeah, it's what he'll feature, and alongside with that fastball and the sinker, he needs some outs.
batting .273 this ALCS. That included 2 home runs, one yesterday. Strike one down the middle on a fastball, 1-1.
And Alec had mentioned this earlier. The first 23 batters did not even reach against Munoz. Toronto's got 2 hits.
Toronto likes to put the ball in play, and they've done this twice against the best closer this postseason. That's Bo 98 that went upstairs, 2-1.
See what we get here. It is Hoffman in the bullpen for the 9th, maybe.
And we'll have to wait to see as if Fluharty, they're taking off Fluharty for warm-ups. They're going with Hoffman to close it out. And Barger caught by Naylor, and he doubles up the first base side.
That was an absolute bomb for Barger, and Naylor gets his glove on, gets the paw, steps on first. Giant double play, keeps the runner at third base with 2 outs.
And now this one's on the ground, John. You don't have to overthink it. Just get the out at first, because you will have well enough time if it's on the ground. Consider the situation, 2 outs. Here's IKF now. Strike one, top left.
Now Munoz, he's trying to walk away from this tightrope. After those 2 hits, got a double play, got to finish it off.
IKF is the single in the 7th, and a run scored. 0-1 pitch is fouled on a fly ball right.
0-2. Munoz trying to get out of this at pitch number 12. It's nail-biting time.
It is. And if Seattle can get out of this one and take the lead in the 9th, what happens? We've had moments here that have been memorable for these 2 teams. Jorge Polanco, Eugenio Suarez, George Springer. The 0-2. Low outside on the fastball.
99 and didn't get IKF to bite.
Not even close to that. They'll have to see what comes here on a 1-2 count. Could this be lucky number 13 for Munoz? Blasted to left, it's fouled, and IKF stays alive. Not exactly for good luck or bad luck, but just normal luck that time around for the Hawaiian. 2 outs, 1-2 pitch again. Up the middle. This will be taken care of by Rivas. The 8th inning is over. Jeff Hoffman time in the 9th inning. Can he do the job to put away the Mariners?
Holy cow, Alec. I can't even get away from the mix of emotions. He had Springer with the 3-run tank on the side of the 7th, and then Munoz. The first 2 reach. You got the sacrifice, and you got runners at second and third. A double play gets induced for Naylor. It's hard to get step on the bag, and somehow Toronto doesn't score.
They do get 2 hits on Munoz, but that's all the damage is. Just 2 hits, no runs scored, and you don't even get a run scored in from the third base side. You have a runner there. Don't need to panic for Rivas. He understood the situation. Just get the out at first because it is 2 outs, and that was all she wrote for the inning. And with the 9th inning, and no matter what, Julio Rodriguez will come up as the 3rd batter in this order. You need him the most if you're Seattle.
Yeah, you got to get there. Well, that's what you need right now. And again, we mentioned it the other day, and Alec covered the game. He had Hoffman throwing about 40 pitches last night. So if indeed I see his name pop up in the 9th as we expect after Bassett went 1, yeah, his line is done. So Hoffman comes in. Bassett's day is done after 10 pitches. He was excellent. Kevin Gausman walked 3, but he didn't give up a run. Sir Anthony Dominguez was the coolest out of everybody, went 7 pitches, got 3 outs. And Louis Varland, although it was scary for him, he went an inning and a third and only gave up 1 earned run. So the Blue Jays bullpen, as we said, could have been much maligned. They've done the job today.
Yeah, they did the job between Varland, Dominguez, Gausman, and Bassett. They've all taken care of business. But now Hoffman, we can say, John, with full confidence, that he's the biggest wild card now, considering he pitched 2 innings yesterday and close to 40 pitches. So he's going to be the big wild card of it all.
And again, as we mentioned, it's 7-8-9 for Seattle. So Rivas, again, no, 8-9-1, as Alec mentioned. So, yeah, you will get at least Julio Rodriguez, which is important. But now I wonder, as we said earlier in the previous inning, Whether or not Dan Wilson's going to go to can zone guard or anything else, you have the option. If you were going to go infield, you would probably have to put in Miles Mastrobuoni, but that would only be for a defensive replacement. But since Seattle's down by a run, they got to find some way to scratch and claw, at least one to continue. And then Alec had mentioned about Hoffman throwing about 2 innings and 40 pitches yesterday. If Seattle does tie this, I'm not really sure who Toronto's got left in their bullpen.
Me neither, because you already used up Gosman, you already used up Bassett, and now your bullpen would come down to Brendan Little, Braden Fisher, perhaps.
Whoever you would feel the most confident in, and that would be a dartboard throw at that point. So here we go, top 9, Seattle. Rivas shows bunt on the first pitch, and bunts it followed to Clement. Curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the logic about the bunt here. Perhaps you want to reach base on an infield bunted single, perhaps from if you're Rivas, but you don't have anyone on base.
So Lucas in right, you got Straw in left. That takes out Barger. Now Rivas. Here's a splitter low from Hoffman. Make it 1-1. It's fair to question, as we talked about, how much gas is left in the tank for Hoffman. We do know, in the long side between Philadelphia and Toronto, he can be elite. He was brought over to do this. 95, dotted on a fastball, 1-2.
It was a journey of a regular season for Hoffman, but in this postseason, he's pitching to a 1.42 ERA. Excellent results.
1-2. Rivas, as we said, the birthday boy last week. Again, these batting leverages continue to get bigger as you advance in the postseason. Somebody's got to come through. It can't just be Julio Rodriguez. Here is another splitter. 2-2 as he tries to work his way back.
Yeah, it can't just be maybe Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh carrying the moment of load, and to an extent Josh Naylor. You need your bottom of the order to show up. The bottom third has been a nightmare this series for Seattle.
Spiked in the dirt on a slider, not close. And what do you do here if you're Rivas, Alec?
I feel if this is thrown outside, then don't even think about swinging at it.
Full count pitch. We know Hoffman's a little gassed from yesterday, trying to close it. Swing of this! Hoffman gets the first.
Don Canzone pinch hitting in the place of Victor Robles, and there, Hoffman to get the job done. That ball was upstairs, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Don't swing at it. That one's going outside the zone. Why would you swing at a ball going upstairs, even if it's a ninth inning? Take the walk.
Even the Blue Jays fans were shocked. They saw that one up high on the hands for Hoffman. The whole field did. But Rivas sits down. Now it's Dom Canzone. Here's a pitch way outside on a splitter. I think Canzone would have a little more discipline because he had over 300 in the regular season. It's 1-0.
And Canzone, who is back in this situation because Victor Robles had himself a less than memorable outing at the plate.
Kirk discards the mask, but this will be out of play back in amongst the catcher's screen.
Not even close that time round. Canzone batting a dreadful 0.95.
Where is the hero going to come from? Again, Alec had mentioned it. Rodriguez will be back at the top of the order, but that'll be 2 outs. They'd love to have someone to get on before then, so J-Rod's got something to work with. Can't ask Kim and Kel to do everything. I completely agree with that. Here's the 1-1. Hoffman, deep breath. Blue Jays trying to go to the World Series for the first time in a while. Splitter way outside and high. 2-1.
That one wasn't particularly close to Hoffman. And we wonder when he pitched 2 innings yesterday, it's about another factor, rest versus rust. He's pitched on no days rest and having 2 innings pitched yesterday. So the rust could settle in at times.
Challenge fastball at 94. Swing and miss right down the middle from Canzone. And the Blue Jays fans get more excited with every pitch.
2-2. And all Canada who's watching this, they are just as nervous as the fans watching this year.
2-2 against Canzone. Swing and a miss on another ball. 2 strikeouts.
And Seattle's last hope is on the bat of Julio Rodriguez, who's having one of his best games of his career. But they need him to deliver another home run here. Top of the ninth with 2 outs.
Admittedly, I don't know how to feel. I know Alex in here with me, but we're thinking about Cooper. Again, I watched my own team get eliminated by Seattle. And now if I see Seattle get eliminated by Toronto, I feel like I have 2 gut checks in the last 2 weeks. It is Julio Rodriguez against Hoffman. Hoffman trying to find whatever he's got left to send the Blue Jays to the World Series. Another slider high. The last 2 batters couldn't lay off of those. They could have had the first 2 on, but Rodriguez, it's 1-0.
Yeah, Hoffman's pitching like he is having no pressure on him right now.
Hey, Alec, can you take over for me?
Yeah, no worries. So it's ball 1 as it went upstairs. It is 1-0 to count up against Julio Rodriguez, and that's outside 2-0 up against J-Rod on a slider.
You get to take over because I got to reset.
All right, so Cal Raleigh's on deck. He's 1 for 3. Julio has a double, 2 for 4, along with that solo shot earlier in the game. Swing and a miss on the slider. 2 strikes away. Hoffman pitched nearly 40 times yesterday. This next one's going to be his 15th pitch. Trying to close this out to get the series clinching save. 2-1. Foul back. And Seattle's down to their last strike. Fans cheering wildly. Wanting to see Canada's very old team head to the World Series for the first time since Joe Carter touched the ball. 2-2, the count, the pitch, downstairs on the slider. Nerves are getting up here. A little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room. All is needed here. Jeff Hoffman on a payoff with 2 outs, getting set to throw his 17th pitch up against this young face of the Mariners franchise. Oh, Canada! The Blue Jays are World Series bound!
Unbelievable, Alec, as we go across. Great job for the Blue Jays, as we mentioned. We didn't even know that they were going to be here at this point. It's been since the early 90s, since Joe Carter and everything you mentioned. Unbelievable work for them. Big time hit for George Springer to get the job done.
One of the biggest swings of his career, as he has been used to the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez. Now he joins a Blue Jays team. As I mentioned, the Astros teams with Altuve, Bregman, Tucker, Alvarez. Now with a Blue Jays team with Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and all the key faces, and he delivers the biggest hits since Jose Bautista's bat with the Blue Jays getting to host the World Series up north.
Unbelievable. Great work for them on the AL East side. Again, my apologies. As it was flipping over here, as I'm not at the home base still, it decided to crap out right at 2 outs, but thankfully Alec was here to finish up the call, so I appreciate it.
Oh, man, what a game. What a game this has been. A classic that Toronto fans will remember. Their first World Series appearance since, of course, the famous Joe Carter home run in 1993 when he homered off the Phillies closer Mitch Williams when the Blue Jays had Ricky Henderson at their team. And with the hope of with the World Series title flying north of the border, that Springer three-run homer, one to remember. And we mentioned the famous home runs. I don't know where this ranks in Blue Jays franchise history, but this has to be a top 5 moment all time.
Absolutely. And again, it kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Alongside Bizzardo, you have those Seattle arms that are absolutely excellent. And all it takes is one pitch. And you have some of those situations where you get some untimely walks or some singles. And the game was close enough. Look, Seattle had runners with a chance to do some damage throughout the game, and they just couldn't get the job done. And when it's close enough, it gives Toronto a chance to strike, and they did just that.
Yep, you give a little bit of breathing room to any of these guys, they'll make you pay. And the Blue Jays trying to inflict the Uno reverse card on the Los Angeles Dodgers. We know the Dodgers starting rotation is the league's best between Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Ohtani. And now you factor in the Blue Jays rotation where they can be trusted. All of them, Gosman, Savage, Bieber, even throwing Scherzer out there. And of course, the bullpen has been the big question marks of both teams. But there seems to be a sense of steadiness now between both the Blue Jays and the Dodgers bullpens.
Because now you have for the Dodgers, if I'm correct, Roki Sasaki now starting to throw there, which could make some a little bit of interesting things for Dave Roberts. Because Dave Roberts admittedly would want to go in one of the initial games. Ohtani and then Glasnow didn't have much of a bullpen, as you said, though, starting to stabilize. And no matter what, at least from the way that the World Series is set up as it usually is, we essentially get a week off almost. Was it start Friday night? So the Blue Jays are going to have plenty of time to rest all those bullpen arms that they had to use.
It just Hoffman's second career save in the postseason for him. And of course, the Dodgers are going to be the more well-rested. As you mentioned about the bullpen side, yes, you mentioned Sasaki. The initial plans for him as a starter didn't work out.
Right.
They moved him to the bullpen, where he's better suited off right now. And the bullpen experiment with Sasaki has worked out to perfection after the experiments with Blake Trinan and Tanner Scott haven't panned out.
Yeah, you have to do that there, and that's why Dave Roberts was essentially going with a lot of the starter arms. They finally got a chance to reset. Unfortunately, when I have to reset, it goes over when there's supposed to be programming change, and it happened right at 2 outs. So thankfully, Alec was in there. Otherwise, you would have missed a very important call that would have put the Blue Jays into the World Series. But as it is, look, I'll be honest with you. Blue Jays, yes, they made it out of the ALCS, and they deserve to be here because you win the games, and that's what matters. But for the Dodgers, you saw what they did against the Brewers, correct? Everybody saw that, and they acted like it was all business because it is for them. They've won, 14 or 15 of the last 18 in the divisions, completely dominate. If I have to put all the chips on the table right now, I would say Dodgers. And I don't want to be disrespectful to the Blue Jays, but I would have said the same thing if Seattle advanced.
Yeah, no matter what, the expectation was that the Dodgers would win it all. With this elite rotation, this hitting core, now don't get me wrong, Toronto's hitting core is just as good as the Dodgers' hitting core. The difference is going to come down to the starting rotation and whether or not the Dodgers' bullpen can deliver. So that's what it comes down to. We know about Toronto's bats. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is easily the Toronto's most MVP favorite if they were to win the World Series. For the Dodgers, you can pick anyone and you wouldn't be wrong.
I love that camera shot that we just got before we get set to close out here for Vlad Guerrero Jr. with tears in his eyes. You know how much it means to him. Again, it's kind of one thing for Vlad to go up with David Ortiz and go, the Yankees lose, and then win it like this. So you got all sorts of emotions there if you're Vlad.
I think he's going to have another outstanding interview with Big Papi post game with Kevin Burkhardt and company at Big Papi.
They're starting to really enjoy themselves, I'll say, between A-Rod, Jeter, and David Ortiz. Maybe not quite inside the NBA, but I really like their coverage. They do a good job.
Oh, no matter who is hosting between Burkhardt or Matt Excursion, please get him back on the mic, please. We miss him. Well, no matter what it is, even though we don't see it as inside the NBA levels, it's their own version of inside the NBA. It's that good of a panel.
It is, and it's been a lot of fun. And Alec, this was a lot of fun to cover with you. Again, I feel like I'm going to have a heartbreaking call in about 5 minutes from now after that. But you know what? I appreciate the fact that you were on here and we could cover this together. And admittedly, as you said with the World Series, I texted you. I think initially for everyone else that listens to this or when they listen to it later, I might only be able to cover probably the first 3 or 4 games because 5, 6, and 7, especially 6 and 7, go right into my Sharks debut, and I can't be two places at once, unfortunately. So I don't think I'm going to be able to go through the whole World Series this year, but we're going to try to at least get as many games as I can, solo or not.
We'll see how far we can go. I admittedly am in my schedule of community college has gotten more packed these days.
Yeah.
I don't know for how many games I'm going to be here, but I'll see how much I can do.
We'll see what we can get here, and we'll try to go as much of the World Series as we can. Thankfully, at least by the time we get to the Stanley Cup playoffs again, that's never a problem because Alec and I would never miss that. But we can only do what we can do. But I appreciate you being here for this Game 7. It was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, John. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. That's your final, ladies and gentlemen. Heartbreak on one side and fun on the other. 4-3 Blue Jays. That's your final. So if Canada doesn't get any of their other hockey teams, they at least got the Blue Jays going to the World Series here. It's interesting times we live in. Never thought that was going to happen, but that's the case. Blue Jays make it. They got to play the Dodgers. And I don't know how many teams are going to be rooting for the Dodgers outside of LA or how many teams are going to be rooting for the Blue Jays outside of Toronto. But maybe the Blue Jays actually get some of that fanfare because people are just sick of LA. Who knows? Again, I'm one of those from Michigan, so I can't say either because I know what it's like for the Tigers. But this is going to be an interesting World Series as far as who you root for. We'll talk soon.